It was an ordeal, that's for sure.
25,000 plus people here at the ground waiting for the activity to start in the middle. Najmul Hussain Shanto. He's really been amongst the runs. 452 in this BPL with a strike rate of 113, best of 89 not out. He's looked very, very confident right the way through this tournament. And of course he'll be partnered in the middle by a young man who's also made a name for himself, particularly with his strike rate 141.4 and garnered over 400 runs in this edition of the BPL.
Yeah, both the players are contender to be the player of the tournament. And my pick is going to be Shanto because technically he's very sound. He's one batsman who has impressed the most. He'll be facing Andre Russell. He can bowl with brisk pace. And as a batsman, you've got to be wary of a bouncer. There you go, the first one.
Just feeling for it a little bit. Inside part of the bat. Oh my goodness. Mistake right from the word go. And that cost them a boundary.
Always early nerves when you start a game, especially as a batsman. Yeah, he was circumspect. And those 4 runs, they're going to ease the nerves. Yeah, there was a chance. But a direct hit was needed. It wasn't to be.
Oh, almost cut him in half. What a brilliant delivery, that one. Just found that gap between bat and pad.
Almost severed the batsman on that occasion. There wasn't a lot of movement with that particular delivery, but those early nerves. We spoke about how technically correct this batsman is, but he's feeling the pressure of the finals.
He's thrown his bat at that one. It's gone over the top. That leaves some of the nerves, but I still felt that he didn't get it 100%.
He saw the room and ran with it. Shanto. And the first boundary came due to an overthrow, but this one, yes, wasn't in control of that one, but managed to clear that fielder at mid-off.
Oh, when you hit him hard, slash hard, it'll bring you 4 lucky runs.
Is that a telltale sign? Sylhet are going to win this one because if you're lucky as a bowling unit, this could have gone straight to the fielder placed in the slips, but fixed outside edge and third boundary of the over. Moeen Ali was a mere spectator.
Nicely riding that bounce from back of a length, and a single has suddenly become such a huge over.
And very pleasant out there, very pleasant, only 24 degrees. A slight breeze, and that'll bring a bit of comfort level to the players.
Well, it's going to be the last ball of what has been an eventful first over by Andre Russell. A lot of support for both teams. Tawhid Ridoy just taking guard, facing the bowler for the first time. What else? What better than a big first over with the bat? Deviation down the leg side, that's going to be close. Big appeal. Umpire doesn't seem to be interested. And another overthrow. This is unbelievable. Goodness gracious, what is going on here?
It's the first over of the game, and you could see the frustration. It wasn't needed. Hasn't pleased Andre Russell even a single bit. is asking what is happening. And they've forgotten to review that one. It wasn't a bad shout. 17 already in the first over.
Two very strong units vying for that coveted trophy. Final between the Kumilla Victorians and the Sylhet Strikers. They haven't made any changes either side. This is what transpired of the last ball. Those deviating down leg, but it was going to be missing, so it's a good thing they didn't go for it.
Yeah, the length. The length was in favor of the batsman. Oh, ball it! The first delivery from Tanveer, and he has broken through. Brought some semblance with that dismissal.
They needed a wicket. They desperately did. And Tanveer, who always produces the goods, got rid of Tawhid. Look at this, just angling back in, and he's just playing outside the line, and that is the celebration he normally has. Tanveer, when he takes the wicket, big important breakthrough. Tawhid doesn't bother the scorers. It's 18 for 1. Ashrafi Mortaza, the skipper, comes in. Well, they say come at the man. He's decided to promote himself in the batting order. He's done well in the previous game, and this is why he's here.
He won man of the matches in a couple of outings, Tanveer Islam, and proved that he's a wicket taker. Knocked the batsman off with his first delivery. Our captain is off the mark.
What a first 8 deliveries we've had in the final. The 2 overthrows producing 9 runs. And we had the wicket of the first ball of the second over. Well, the crowd are getting their money's worth already.
Yeah, this event has become eventful already. Plenty of information being imparted to the left arm. How to go about the job, bowling at informed batsman Shanto, who has been ultra impressive in this Isfahani BPL. He's the highest run getter.
Interesting fact, Amir, out of the previous 8 finals, 6 times the side batting first have won it.
Scoreboard pressure.
There you go. Only twice have the batters batting second have won it. So that at least that stat is in favor of Sylhet. Circumspect, and that is the right way of going about it.
They got a big first over where they got 18 runs, and in the second over with the first delivery lost the wicket. Just absorb the pressure for at least one more over, and if there is a half volley or a long hop, go for it. do not need to be extravagant. But that what Shanto needs to realize, because the captain has promoted himself at number 3. There is a reason. He's going to go after the bowlers. He needs to bat sensibly.
Oh, beauty. This guy is making the ball talk. Excellent delivery.
Oh, with that delivery, he must have made Sir Curtly Ambrose proud. Look at the scene presentation. Brilliant.
They're shaped. It's nice to see from a spinner. Very tentative, but does manage to get a single of the last ball of over number 2. It's 20 for 1. It's the final, and it's all happening here already. 2 overs, 20 runs, a wicket, overthrows, swinging balls from a spinner. Excellent stuff.
How about this man? He's been a revelation in this Isfahani BPL. He's a very strong offside player. And then those nudges. But this time around, hit the ball straight to the fielder.
But you can see that he makes room for himself. He's very strong, as you mentioned, on the offside. The width, when it's offered, it's easy for him to put away. But on occasions, he backs away. He rides the bounce. He's pretty adept at hitting the long ball down the ground through cover and into the offside. Let's see the percentage of runs behind square and up to about the cover area, the extra cover area. Now the swivels round, gets quite a bit of bat to that one. That is done excellently by Najmul Hussain Shanto.
That's the main reason why he has made the difference. He doesn't move around too much in the crease. He sets himself in a position where he can hit the ball on the up with vertical and horizontal bat. And the reason why he's impressed me the most, he doesn't require bad deliveries. He scores his runs of good deliveries, which are pitched within the stumps.
He's already got 19 of 12, so there's absolutely no pressure to get him move on. Plus with Mashafi Murtaja, the skipper at the other end, he'll be feeling at ease. Final, the officiating umpires, Tanvir Ahmed, standing in his 85th T20 match. He is partnered by David Milnes from England, 184th one for him.
Yeah, huge occasion for these umpires as well.
Oh, just deviation down the leg side. That left-right combination get even a bowler of the class and quality of Russell gets a little flustered on occasion.
Dignitaries in that box. These are the people who are responsible for this huge tournament, BPL.
Imran Kais will try to emulate what he did in the final last year, being the defending champions. But they've got their work cut out. Oops, not quite ready. Mustafa Mortaza raises his hands very early in the piece. And actually, Aaron Russell was halfway through his run, so it's okay.
Yeah, Mashrafi did the needful straight away. And this time around, he's ready.
Whoa! Well, that didn't climb too high up. It did well to duck underneath that one.
Yeah, threw him off guard with that short pitch delivery. Well directed one too. Yeah, Andre Russell realized that he has promoted himself up the order to look for the boundaries. And he's not going to offer freebies, and that's for sure, Andre Russell.
Oh, that's gone now straight up in the air and he's gone. That is the wicket. Mashrafi Mortaza trying to hit it over the infield, over the cover region, but only holds out. But a comfortable, simple catch there. The second wicket goes down.
Soft dismissal. He saw the length, didn't realize it was a slow delivery, was into the stroke a bit too early, and an easy catch for the captain. And Andre Russell has struck for the first time in this game. And it was the captain, Mashrafi Mortaza. This promotion didn't work this time around. It's 26 for 2.
Twenty-six for 2. And that ploy of getting Mashrafi Mortaza to come up the order didn't work. In comes Mushfiqur Rahim. 128 is strike rate. 283 runs is garnered in this edition of the BPL. He'll have a job to do now that a couple of wickets have fallen.
Yeah, after the first hurried over, Kumilla Victorians have recovered well. They have picked up a couple of wickets. Mashrafi Mortaza was looking to up the ante. Managed to hit the ball straight to the captain. And back in the game, Kumilla Victorians.
After that bizarre first over, they've done very well. Tanvir first and then Russell getting the 2 wickets to fall. Down the leg side. It's going to be signalled a wide. Tanvir Islam, we saw him bowl a very unusual delivery in the last over for a spinner with upright seam of the ball just shaving away, but that shaped the other way. Needs to avoid that. Needs to avoid giving extra balls.
Yeah, he's a thinking bowler, isn't he? He's always thinking of bringing down the batsman. What was that? That was ordinary. How could you miss that one? Yeah, the batsman did use the pace.
It's unbelievable. Sunil Narine, the culprit there. Such a lethargic attempt on trying to stop that ball. Oh, it's just a polite ask for the batter. And Shanto, well, he's a little tentative. The runs have come, Amir, but the streaky way, the boundaries have come.
Seems like that he's been asked to do a job. The message for him is try and play 20 overs. Sylhet strikers, they're looking to use his form. They want him till the end, Shanto, and he's trying to respond to that call.
At the moment, they've got two batters who are normally, not the type that's going to blast your way out of trouble and attack the bowlers per se. The intention was there early on with that kind of plan in mind when they brought in Mashrafi, but that has to be changed now. Go to plan B.
Oh, one thing these two batsmen need to do, carry on with the momentum. They cannot allow the opposition to take charge. They have to show intent. Even Mushfiq, he needs to get on with the job.
To tuck around the corner. It's going to be a period of close observation. And this is where they have to be a little circumspect, take their time, and wait for the loose deliveries to come.
Or try and force the issue. Use feet. Just try and force the ball away from that threatening line of length like that. You have to take few chances. Yes, there was a bit of risk involved, but you have to send a message, a strong one, to the bowler.
Mushfiq Rahim quite capable of doing that. He does play the reverses very well. The orthodox sweep that we saw him employing there.
This is our last stint, I think, in this BPL. It was a renewed pleasure to be sitting along you, Shami.
Oh, it's a great pleasure and good to have you back. Hope you come back soon, Amir. Best of luck with whatever you're doing. And that is 4 done. It's 34 for 2.
Yeah, it's the final of the Isfahani BPL T2023. Powered by Minister in association with Nogod. Sylhet strikers have been asked to bat first. Sunil Narayan is in the attack. 34 for 2. Yes, they've lost 2 wickets, but don't count them out yet. Have a look at those figures. 477 wickets. Yeah, he's a tricky bowler, isn't he? A very good evening to Sir Curtly Ambrose.
Good evening, Nata. Certainly is a tricky bowler. That's why when he came on the scene first, they called him the mystery spinner. He bamboozled a lot of batsmen around the globe. Sylhet strikers versus the Comilla Victorians, 2 powerhouse of this BPL 2023, the grand finale. Good shot, slapped away over wide long on for 4. Slightly over pitch from Sunil Narayan, and that was a good shot.
Yeah, he's having such a wonderful time with the bat. It's way outside the off stump. He's taken it wide outside the off stump and slapped that away. A good piece of wood on that to get it sail over for the boundary. Oh, this could be trouble. Oh, he's taken some wonderful catches. Mustafizur Rahman this time not hanging on to it, not an easy one. So they came back for the second. Or could have been another wicket there.
How close was that? Touched it. That would go down with a drop chance. It would have been a brilliant catch. One handed to his left. Sunil Narayan knows it. And Shanto survives.
Yashanto is the leading run scorer in this edition of BPL. It's a full house in the stadium and even in the president's box. The president left of the screen as concerned. And the board directors. That's well bowled. Even though he conceded a boundary of the third delivery of the serve, he finished with 6 in that over. 40 for 2. Yeah, going at a rate of 8 is fine because they have 8 wickets. In early days, they still have one more over inside the power play. All they need is a good start, especially if they have someone like Nazmul Hussain Shanto to back through. He's already scored out of the 40. He scored the bulk. 31 of 22. In comes Fiz, Mustafizur Rahman. 8 wickets in this edition of BPL. Another very tricky bowler. When he came to the scene, people could hardly read him because he bowled those excellent cutters. Nowadays, people have started to realize that he does that, so they've got the bit of a hang of it, but still a dangerous bowler. Mustafizur. I spoke about Nazmul Hussain Shanto. Don't forget that with him, his batting is Mr. Dependable, Mushfiqur Rahim. Yeah, he set Mashrafi nicely, didn't he? First one was a yorker, full of length. Second one, a short one, ducks underneath, and then a slower delivery. And he chips it straight to the cover. Really good from Andrew Russell. Very Russ. I'll be happy to see because he played a nice little cameo in that last match for his team, Mashrafi Murtaza. But they'll be pleased to see the back of him. Short cut away straight to the fielder.
It's going to be very important that both Shanto and Mushfiqur build a good partnership here. The Sylhet strikers have already lost 2 wickets, 2 quick wickets. Shanto at this point doing the bulk of the scoring. This partnership is going to be crucial for the Sylhet strikers. They don't want to lose another wicket or two too soon. That could spell trouble. This is going to be a good partnership.
Oh, shot to the left of the fielder, so he'll be okay to come back for an easy single. Good piece of fielding, good cricket all around. Taking on Dre Russ.
He was right on the 30-yard circle, Andrew Russ. Good flow. But once both batsmen communicate well and respond to the call quickly, it's always going to be single because of where Andrew Russell is located. Right at the end. And look at that crowd from Dhaka. Look at that crowd.
Eye pleasing, isn't it, the Turtley Ambrose? It's chock-a-block, jam-packed. If you're thinking to come into this stadium, stay back. Because it's chock-a-block, and mind you, there are so many people outside. Remember, though, we couldn't even get the cars in. We had to walk. I walked for 10 minutes to get in.
It's really jam-packed. This is what all spectators were waiting for. This big grand finale. And look at them. They're happy to be in the stadium this evening. 2 of the strongest team in this competition are here to entertain. There'll only be one winner, but we'll have to wait much longer. But this is electrifying, Atta, isn't it?
You said it, sir. And I could not agree more. What an over this is turning out to be from the master himself, Mustafizur Rahman. Well, they didn't find the tickets, but they're making sure they get the glimpse of their favorite players. Stay safe. Right. Mustafizur Rahman needs to finish off nicely here. Only 2 singles in the 5 delivery that he has bowled so far. Again, a great delivery. A dot to finish the over. It's a lovely over from Fez. Sylhet strikers 42 for 2. Yeah, power play done and dusted. Sylhet strikers have moved to 42 for 2. They've lost a couple of wickets. Confirmation, I can also see Moeen Ali most likely to come in the attack because he's setting the field and he's got the ball in his hand. Right arm off spinner. Coming round the wicket to the left-hander. Nicely tucked away in the gap. They should come back for the second. They do. He's batted well, hasn't he, Nazmul Hussain Shanto? He looks the part.
There certainly was a bit of a mix-up here. It could have been a disaster. Not much communications between 2 players. Well, we all know who they're supporting. Shanto has got a wonderful tournament. That's why he's the leading run scorer in this competition. He's been so consistent for his team. And they do need him as well this evening to get a big total. But he does need support as well. Mushfiqur is one of those guys who can get runs too. So this partnership is going to be so crucial for the Sylhet strikers to get to a decent total, a defendable total.
But they defended 182 against Rangpur Riders. We were not sure. Remember, we thought that probably it was chaseable, but Sylhet strikers came out with flying colours. So don't count them out. No, twins. Nice, isn't it? Very nice. It's been so nice to see people from all ages coming to the stadium to support their favorite teams. And you got to give it to Bangladesh Cricket Board for arranging. Especially tonight, we saw 3 superstars, singers performing before the start of the match. And the fans loved it. So did I. I was downstairs right in front of the stage.
Is it Halloween time? I don't think so.
Oh, close, close! Pleading. Let's see whether they'll take the review or not. The bat on strike is Nazmul Hussain Shanto, who's the leading run getter. No, not interested. After 7, Sylhet strikers 48 for 2. 5 bowler use so far. What about Tanvir Islam? He's been quite a revelation. With that wicket, he joins the leading wicket taker list with Hassan Mahmood, 17 wickets apiece. Looks like that he might be in the attack one more time. Looking to break this partnership. Yes, he is. He's bowled beautifully throughout the tournament, and once again, he's delivered the goods with the ball. In this innings, he already has a wicket. That too of Tawhid Ridoy. Shouts of catch it, but it's over the top of the cover fielder. And he's got enough legs for the boundary.
Good shot. And that 4 brings up the 50 for the Sylhet strikers. Over pitch delivery. And Mushfiqur, good player. He was never going to miss out. Always put pressure on the bowler when you get a boundary off the first delivery. What can Tanvir do now?
He tries to reverse, doesn't connect, doesn't get the elevation or the gap, but he still picks up a single. Yeah, when you pick up a 4 in the very first delivery of an over, as a batter, you would be hoping that you can get in and get a good over. Turn this over at a big one without taking any risk. But that was a bit of a risk from Mushfiqur Rahim.
It certainly was. I don't think that was really necessary at the time. Could have gotten a top edge. I would have been caught. He would have been really disappointed if that happened. But he survived. But I think so far, conventional strokes are much better. Oh! What happened there? Was it a drop catch? It looked like it was a drop catch from his disappointment on his face, but that was struck with severe power, wasn't it, Athar?
I think it's a drop catch. Straight in and out. Yes, doesn't matter how hard he hits, you gotta grab it. That's a big miss. That is a big miss because they've just dropped Nazmul Hussain Shanto, and he might have just hurt him. It's the skipper, Imrul Kais.
Looks to have hurt like his index finger. So simply means the ball didn't hit the palm of his hands. That's why he couldn't hold on. I mean, it got to him really quickly. It was just like reaction time. He couldn't hold on. Disappointment on his face. Wicket number 1. Trying to play square up the wicket. Tawheed and was bowled. And Andre Russell, slow delivery. Bamboozled Mortaza. Easy catch, a short, extra cover.
Yeah, the franchise owners of Sylhet Strikers will be very happy to see them in the final. I can see the reaction from Imrul Kais. Very disappointed. He's got rid of his helmet now. Nazmul Hussain Shanto. 37. Lucky. This time he finds the gap. Oh, nearly. One bounce to the fence. He just might hurt you a little bit more.
They are loving it. And that was exactly what he tried to do the previous delivery. But this time he made no mistake. Struck it well. Just short of a 6, but nevertheless, it was a good shot.
That's a good slap between the deep mid wicket and the long on fielder. This time he pulls it short, but there's a fielder in that he will cut off. Just going back to those 3 spinners who performed today, there was James, one of my favorites. There was Warface, and there was Maqsoodul Haq. Very popular band and singer. Performed before the start of this final. And already in this over, so this is a good over. You don't want to throw your wicket now. They've been lucky in this over. Yeah, good batting, good sensible batting. Single will take the score to 60 for 2. 11 in this over. It's beg your pardon, it's 59 for 2. Sylhet strikers have been sent in to bat first in this final of the Isfahani BPL T20 2023. 59 for 2. After 8, it's Nazmul Hussain Shanto who stands tall at the top of the table. 42 of 32 in this final, and yet again he is proving to be very, very crucial and influential for the Sylhet strikers. Yes, it's all set for the battle. And to continue, well, breathtaking atmosphere here at the Mirpur Sherwala National Cricket Stadium. Jam-packed. Isfahani BPL T20 2023 powered by Minister in association with Nagod. The ambience is fantastic. Very good evening to Roshan Abhay Singh. Good evening, Shamnoy. Good evening, all. Yeah, it is the type of atmosphere you'll expect for a final. The Sylhet strikers and the reigning champions. Well, they're throwing themselves around. They're trying to make an impression. They're really fighting hard out there. Reigning champions, Comilla. They've won 10 games on the trot. That's an amazing run of success. And then Sylhet strikers trying hard to dethrone them. Have a look at the great effort there. And that's Tanveer Islam, the left arm spinner who's been outstanding in the tournament. Sunil Narayan, Kenny bowler. There's a bit of turn and the wicket looking for a... Yes, they are comfortably back for the double. You have to be very, very careful, Kumilla Victorians, with the throwing. Well, yeah, there have been some poor throwing by the Kumilla Victorians, but this time, yes. But look at how clever these pair of batters are. They're playing it with very soft hands, seeing those large open areas, the real estate, acreage of real estate, getting a couple of runs. That's the way to go. They got 4 of the first 3. Sunil Narayan, interestingly, used to be a big spinner on the ball, but if you look at him now, he has a little bit more variety. He bowls a little bit of seam. He looks to swing the ball. Also uses a bit of finger spin. Oh yeah! It's very late. Made room for himself. He get a single. Yeah, he just, as he mentioned, using the seam of the ball. Sunil Narayan. We've seen Tanveer Islam do the same earlier tonight. Tanveer Islam, of course, we do know he's a left-arm spinner who tries to bowl it quickly. But Sunil Narayan, before he remodeled his action, he was a different kind of a spinner that spun the ball a lot. That was looped just outside the off stump and round the wicket. His plan would be to try and bring it back into the left-hander, to try and reduce the angle, but just a touch full on that occasion. Yeah, into the middle overs, into the 9th. 6 of it already of the 5 deliveries. The partnership is building up, and a good one for the Sylhet strikers. 39 of 36. Inside out, nicely pasted into the gap, looking for the double and easily getting it. 8 runs of the 9th over. Sylhet strikers 67 for 2. Time for a breather to re-strategize. Strategic timeout. 5 bowlers used so far by Kumilla Victorians. Russell and Tanveer with a wicket apiece. But the Kumilla Victorians. And still a fair share of batting to come. Zakir Hassan, Ryan Burl and Thisara Pereira playing his 350th T20. What an achievement. But here's another achievement, which is the metro rail in Dhaka, starting from Diabari Uttara till Agargaon, and the BPL T20 2023 trophy. This Pahani BPL, powered by Minister in association with Nogod, was unveiled with Imrul Qais and Mushfiq Rahim, and they took a ride in that metro rail. Sure, had a great experience, much needed experience, and yes, promised to reduce the congestion and the traffic. This busy Dhaka city. That was very nice, wasn't it? The metro station looked quite nice. The train was empty, which was good. I think that's the whole idea of having the rail. Was the pace of the ball to start with. He's a very clever operator, Mr. Rahman. I think his strength, as we all know, is the fact that he takes up a lot of pace. Yes, the golden, beautiful Isfahani BPL T20 2023 trophy, powered by Minister in association with Nogod. And who will be lifting it? Kumilla Victorians, Sylhet Strikers. What is your pick? I'll ask you. I have to be neutral. No, you can be neutral, but I'm just asking you. You can just give me a thought. Doesn't mean you're supporting them. Okay? Still early hours in terms of the final, but have you got a favorite? Well, yeah, of course. I think Comilla have a very strong side, and they're carrying the momentum. They got a very strong side. Take nothing away from Sylhet, but my heart tells me it is Comilla. That's what I think. Again, I might be speaking a little bit too soon. For sure, not taking nothing away from you. But I'll add with some trivia with what you said. Add to that after this delivery. Mr. Face to Mushfiqur. Yes, found the gap. 4 runs. Well, I'll tell you something. I would have said Comilla, but when Sylhet is playing shots like that, batters are playing shots like that and looking to try and up the ante, Comilla will have to be careful. That's a very nice shot. Short and wide. Now he's using the angle so well. He's going over the wicket, going across the right-hander. And there wasn't anybody behind point on the offside. So short and wide becomes a good option to a right-hander. That's exactly what Mushfiq did. He's a clever operator, Mushfiq. Indeed, he is straight away looking for a double. It's played with soft hands and will get it. After that boundary, the fielder at backward of point was pushed back into the boundary, and he used that area again. But look at this running. Good running. Look at the intent of Mushfiq. Really turning. He was determined to come back for 2. And what Mustafiz did that time, that second delivery was a little bit quicker and slightly fuller. And you could see that it didn't allow him to play the squacker, didn't give him the space to play the shot. But that delivery also had a bit of bounce. But again, cleverly played by Mushfiq. He's such a clever, experienced cricketer. He knows where his scoring areas are. He opens up areas, be it on the off or on the leg. 10 soft hands. Just making sure that they are rotating the strike. This is very, very smart batting from Sylhet Strikers, as they are in numbers here tonight at the Mirpur Shahar Bangla. But just to add to what you were saying, yes, Kumilla Victorians, they've won the championship BPL 3 times, starting from 2015, when Mashrafi Murtaza was the skipper of Kumilla Victorians. Mashrafi himself, as a skipper, has played 4 finals before this, and he's taken the trophy. In the air, will find the gap. 4 runs. That's not great bowling. That is not great bowling, because he's giving so much of width outside the off stump. If bowling without a fielder square on the offside, there's a big gap. See, it becomes pretty easy when you bowl that length and that width. And all he has to do is use his hands and open the face of the bat. Use the pace, open the face of the bat. And he had enough width to complete the shot. That's very good batting, but not great bowling. 500 runs now for Shanto, and what a batter he's turned out to be. What a player he's turned out to be. Cut away again. It's not a single. Mushfiq wanted it, denied by Shanto, but 12 of this 10th over. Sylhet strikers 79 for 2. USA, Qatar, UAE, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Caribbean, Afghanistan, rest of the world, and of course, Bangladesh broadcasted everywhere. Isfahani BPL T20 2023. And yes, just in the previous over, Shanto became the first player this season to get past the 500 runs mark. Cut away. Pulled. Oh yes, was that an opportunity? I think it was. Will go for a boundary. It's Johnson Charles. At deep mid-wicket, it's Moeen Ali. Let's take another look. Yeah, it was in there. And he made an effort. But just couldn't hold on to. He had to make the decision between going for the catch and saving the boundary. Eventually went for the catch. Goes again. This time, couple more. Mushfiq will enjoy it. He's so good against spin. He's one of the best players I've seen playing spin. Whether he plays the sweep, the slog, or the reverse, he's so good. His feet, using up his feet, that's the partnership. Already it's gathering momentum. What's so good about Mushfiq is I believe the secret as to why of he being able to play the spinner so well is his nimble footwork. He's so quick, either down the pitch or on the back foot. He makes length deliveries look short by getting on the back foot. He's a very fine player of spin bowling, and that's been seen here. Uses the crease so well. We mentioned taking charge, then going back to the back foot. This time off the back foot, cut away. Will be straight to a fielder. Manipulating the field, making the bowler think. Same time, you do need a bit of luck on your side. We've seen some deliveries in the air, some opportunities not taken. Yeah, 29 of 20, striking at a near 150. That's very good. 61 of 47 is the partnership. Now the left hand on strike. Soft hands, that will bring up his 50. Big stage, big occasion, the final of the BPL. And the table topper, Nazmul Hussain Shanto, brings up his half century of just 38 balls, striking at 131. Well, I remember the 100 he got against Sri Lanka, and that was in Kandy, Pallekele. And that was the day I thought he was a good player. He looked a very good player. And yes, he did have a bit of a lean time. He didn't live up to that promise. But this BPL 2023 has made him realize that promise. He's delivered on the promise. He's a good player. He's a very good player. Good young player. Shanto, Nazmul Hussain Shanto, 50 of 38. Striking at 131.6. That's very good. Inside out. Stumping opportunity. Taken full advantage. The keeper certainly thinks it is close. He thinks he's got him. We'll have to monitor his foot. refereed upstairs. That looked fine, the front foot. Moin Ali. Back foot moves away from the crease. Does it get back in time? That is the question. Well, he bowled it slower. That's the first thing. And then the other thing was he was just giving himself a little bit of room, backing away to try and go inside out. Moin Ali bowled slower and wider. Now this will give you a better story of that he's in. He managed to get back. The wicketkeeper had to drag it and bring it to the stumps. Just allowed Shanto to get back in that split second. Zakir Ali Onik, man behind the stumps. Not out. He survives, does Shanto. Still at strikers, 89 for 2. Nazmul Hussain Shanto, top of the most runners list with 502 runs, followed by Ronnie Talukdar and teammate Tauhid Hridoy. All 5 from Bangladesh in that list. Led the way as Shanto, this was in the first over, above the fielder at cover. He's taken his opportunities well, make the most of it. Played all around the wicket, onside as well, down on one knee against spin. One bounce of 4 on that occasion, spur of the wicket on the offside. Bit full or short, he has not missed out on capitalizing on that opportunity. Starting to the trivia, top run getter, top wicket taker Tanvir Islam is also Mughidul Islam Mugdha with the only fifer. Into the attack, straight away starts off with a slower delivery. This is another young cricketer that has impressed Mughidul. As you said, the only bowler to get a fifer, but not just about the fifer, the way he's bowled. He's been good, he's got his wickets. If my memory serves me right, he went for runs in one game. But other than that, he has been very impressive whenever he came on to bowl in the middle. There have been times that he has bowled at difficult times. That economy is not bad, just over 8. Average is good, the strike rate is brilliant. He's got a wicket for every 2 overs and a bit. 10 wickets in his 9th game. Left-hander on strike now. Short third and fine leg inside the circle. Goes onside. That one has wings on it. Into the crowd. Flies off for a big 6. Well, again, what Shanto did so well, just take a look at it. He's going wide of the crease. He's going round the wicket. And his natural delivery is to angle it back into the left-hander. And also, it's a touch short. So look at this. It's a bit short, angled back into the left hand, and he's working it. He had the space, he had the length to play the shot there, so there's no risk in that shot. Perfectly executed. Above all, he didn't try to hit it too hard. Full bat swing, of course, making sure that it connects from the sweet part of the bat. Brings up the first 6 in this final of the BPL. Making the bowler think. Imrul Qais straight away runs to Mughidul Islam Mugdha. We've seen a Mashrafi pointed at Shanto, probably indicating that you need to be there till the end. And straight away after the 6, we've seen Mushfiqur Rahim walk up to him as well. I think that has to be the case. A set batter should bat as long as possible. Maybe after the 15th over, 16th over. Ideal. That's the ideal scenario. ball, pace of the ball. That's pace of the ball. A little bit too close to him. But I can tell you that Kumilla will have to do something rather quickly. Because this partnership, 70 or 50, striking well, that run rate at the moment is over 8. This pair of batters could afford to bat maybe another 3 to 4 overs. You might be looking at a score close to 180, 190. I'll tell you, especially when you have players like that to follow. Again, not much pace on offer. Cut away. That's not going to help. That's not going to help. It was Musataq Hussain Shoikot over there. Will definitely not make the Comilla Victorians fans happy, and that brings up the 100 for the Sylhet strikers. Well, I'm afraid that's poor cricket. They're not sharp at all. You spoke about those overthrows. That tells you a story. Look at that expression of the captain. This is really poor cricket. That's straightforward. That's regulation. Should have stopped it. You should have stopped. Come on. That's bad. That's really bad. That one kept low. Pace of the ball again from Mukhidul Islam Mugdho. But will not worry the strikers, batters. Already 11 of this over. They need to tighten the out cricket because this is a partnership. They're on a roll here. They're just trying to take the game away from Comilla. And so far they've succeeded. They're doing it well. That's second 50 of just 27 balls. Helped it on his way between the wicketkeeper and the fielder at short fine leg. Will end the over with a 4-run. With a boundary, of course. 104 for 2. $104 for 2. That was a poor over from Mukhidul. It went for 15. The second biggest over of the innings. That last 50 coming in 27 deliveries, HD. He's kicking on. And they've got only themselves to blame because he was dropped. Should have been taken. This is the last ball of the previous over, an expensive over. 15 runs in the previous over. Gone. Just when things are looking good for Sylhet strikers, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. But Comilla Victorians fans are on their feet because they've just seen the back of Nazmul Hussain Shanto. They were desperate for this wicket. Comilla, they needed this wicket. The partnership had grew and now it was getting out of control for them. And Moeen Ali does so well, just takes pace off the ball. Shanto's trying to work it away. He misses. But very well played. He's been brilliant throughout the tournament. He goes for 64, 105 for 3.
Ryan Burl from Zimbabwe walks to the crease at a critical time for both sides. His T20 career, he has an impressive strike rate, a best of 77. That's unbeaten, but it's important that he maintains this momentum that was being created by Mushfiq and Shanto, who are playing beautifully. He's off the mark immediately. Nicely bowled from Moeen Ali, showing all the experience that he has at the various levels that he's played at. But a lovely innings from Shanto, a lovely tournament from the left-hander. He's been a consistent performer for the Sylhet Strikers, and he's running hard, but it'll just be one. Shanto along with Tawid Ridoy and Zakir, they have really been standout performers with the bat, not only in the tournament but for the Sylhet Strikers, to ensure that they got themselves into this position of being finalists.
You mentioned about Zakir Hassan, and they've sent Ryan Bull, promoting him up the order because he scores runs, and when he does score runs, he scores them very, very quickly. So that's the plan. They still have Zakir Hassan in the ranks. And lovely to see the kids coming in with their favorite team shirt. So there's certainly a plan from Mashrafi Murtaza to ensure that, as you rightly mentioned, whether they'll be able to put up a good total, we'll have to wait and see. But what a good over this is from Moeen Ali. 5 runs and a wicket. After 13, Sylhet Strikers 109 for 3.
Still batting to come. Zakir Hassan has been mentioned. What about Dasara Pereira and George Linder? Both wonderful finishers, 2 left-handers. Just the other night, George Linder 21 not out of just 10 deliveries in their victory over the Rangtour Riders. Dasara Pereira playing in his 350th T20 game, a wonderful milestone for Dasara Pereira. But there's Mushfiq. A lot has been made of Shanto, but I tell you what, this innings from Mushfiqur Rahim has also been a good one. He's scoring at 134. That's his strike rate. So he's played more than just second fiddle to Shanto.
And he was slow to start with. This is what he has done in the series. He's gone across 300 runs with 50 in the bag. But as you rightly pointed out, he's so very crucial for Sylhet Strikers. Maybe when we saw a little while earlier when he was batting with Nazmul and Shanto, we saw after Shanto picked up his 50, Mashrafi coming out and giving a really good signal to Mushfiqur to stay, let Shanto play his stroke. Yes, he's back in the hut, but he's done his job. But what about Mushfiqur Rahim? I mean, nicknamed Mr. Dependable. So he's playing his part also with the bat. So it's important that he kicks on from here to ensure that if they're going at this rate of 8.32 is 166 on the board, they'll be looking at somewhere around 190, maybe 200, because they have wickets in hand, and the kind of batting depth they have is still very much a possibility.
Nicely bowled. Good comeback so far from Mukhadil. His previous over went for 15. But he has pace as a cutter into the surface and just grips leg cutter.
such a good delivery in this format of the game. The slower, take the pace of the ball, short third in place, anything above hit the boundary, you let it go because it's a wide.
Well, this is the biggest stage for these men. They've been here for nearly 6 weeks now and they've entertained everyone that's come to watch. There's been wonderful support for all the sides, but I must admit there seems to have been a lot of support for actually these two teams throughout the tournament. Full of superstars. Pulled away. There is a man at deep square leg. There is protection on that leg side. You don't bowl many dot balls to Mushfiqur Rahim. I won't be surprised if Ryan Burl tries to find a boundary. I think he's sent in to be the aggressor.
Yeah, these are the projected scores if they go from here on. 10 runs in an over, it's 177. Wickets in hand, 12 runs in an over, as I said earlier. Possible, very much possible. But it all depends whether Kumilla's Victorian bowlers strike and pick up wickets.
To Russell, long leg, such an athlete. Gets to the ball with no fuss and he's got such a strong arm. With this man in the side, and you think of Johnson Charles, the other West Indian. You think of Sunil Narayan, another West Indian. Nitin Kumar Das. Moeen Ali. You start to think, well, in the dugout, are they saying, well, we need 200? Again, pace taken off. Mushfiq happy to just knock it away for one. So 6 from that over. 115 for 3. This is just some of the technology that's been on offer during the Bangladesh Premier League for 2023, and Iftikhar Ahmed tops the power, the shot power. 1,855 watts he created in one stroke. I wonder how much power there is in this one, because that's gone all the way.
On the cue, right on the cue. Talk about power. That is a lovely piece of timing from Mushfiqur Rahim. Just when they were looking to pick up a boundary, he's done this beautifully and he's gone for the maximum. It's a 6.
Never batting. Bowler always under pressure. When he gets hit for 6 and then a single, 7 off 2. He's wanting to fight for his over. You can see Moeen Ali wanting the ball. He wants to get things going a little bit quicker here. There's just the feeling that the Comilla Victorians haven't been on the money here this evening. They've been a little bit off the pace, and you just wonder, with 10 wins in a row to get them into this position, if there's a little bit, they're a little bit lax at the moment. And just a half for appeal. Probably given his runs.
And you can actually go back and look at that very first over that Dre Russ bowled. There were a couple of overthrows, a couple of misfielding at the outfield. Energy, not the kind of energy that we have seen earlier from Kumilla Victorians. But at this stage, you still have a long way to go. Just a single. So they need to just bring that energy level a little bit on a higher side, Kumilla Victorians, to just send a message that yes, we are still in, we believe in ourselves, and we can still chase whatever you score. The body language. It's not there.
Very fine line between complacent and confident. And there's no doubt they're confident at the first side. They've got so much power, so much skill, so many superstars, match winners in every corner of this ground. But if you get complacent in T20 cricket, you can get badly burnt. He's a clever bowler. 10 from it. He saved the over, 125 for 3. And Mukidal's gone for 21 in 2 overs. The rest of them all pretty consistent, going in and around 7 overs. The Fizz has got 2 left. You would expect him to bowl those. Oh, 1 at the back end, surely. Sure, the skipper in more case will want him to bowl 1 of those 2 at the back end. He's such a skillful bowler in the death overs. He bowls good slow balls, cutters, yorkers.
And this is where the game can turn. Mustafizur Rahman is in the attack, but it's the last 5 overs. 7 wickets in hand. Well placed at 125 for 3. Sylhet strikers. And they need to strike big in these 5 overs.
In the gap and 4. That's muscled through extra cover.
Yeah, if you look at the field set, there's a mid-off, and right next to him, a couple of yards away to his right, it's a straightish extra cover. But he hits it right in the middle. Have a look at this shot. It was short and thumped it away. Have a look at those 2 fielders. Unorthodox field position, but it still gets it through the gap. That is a very good blow to start the over.
Someone walking in front of the side screen. It's never really a cricket game unless someone walks in front of a side screen. Tends to happen wherever you are in the world at some stage during a match. Mustafizur Rahman. Pace taken off again. Just a moment there, Ryan Burl's eyes would have lit up and he would have thought, here I'm getting a juicy full toss. But the ball just dives on him at the end.
Yeah, batters look to play big shots, but they are, at times they're caught by surprise when it's a full toss, and especially if it's a low full toss. Even more so if it's a slow, low full toss. Well, that's what they are playing for. That's the Champions Trophy. Who's going to take it?
Again, very aware, and third in the ring is right on the edge, Sunil Narayan, so nice early call there from Ryan Burl. Game on a knife edge at the moment. 1 big over can see Sylhet propelled to around that 180, 190 mark, which has been mentioned already, but a couple of tight ones can suddenly see them struggling to 160, 170, which is very gettable with that Victorians powerhouse batting lineup. They are finding boundaries early on in the over. They just haven't been able to capitalize on those early boundaries yet. This is high into the air. The Fizz says it's my ball and puts it down.
Never easy. But this could also once again hurt Kumilla Victorians. It's the bowler himself. Yes, the ball was moving in the air. It's a lovely delivery. It's the cutter. Nearly worked in favor of Mustafizur Rahman. There was no one around him. So he said, it's going to be mine. Yeah, just messes it up at the last moment. The Royal Bull survives.
Gee, that went high. It really went high. And those catches that go straight up. Wide call. Those catches that go straight up into the air are not as simple as people think it is. You know, when the ball goes at a trajectory towards the boundary, it's easier to judge. These are so difficult to judge. We saw the Fizz there. At one stage, he had his fingers pointing down, and then he suddenly turned to his fingers pointing up. So he got himself into a bit of a mess. But not an easy catch. Burl survives. Oh, I tell you what. I'm glad I'm not wearing a wig, because he swung hard at that and I would have lost it. The wind created from that swing.
Not a bad delivery, not a bad delivery at this stage of the game, producing a dot. And some sort of pressure after dropping a catch of his own bowling. Let's beat the bat. Again, a slower delivery, taking the pace off the ball. Well, certainly intentions are clear. He's going for it, Brian Ball.
Another opportunity, another opportunity. This should be taken, and is. A backpedaling catch is well taken, and Ryan Burl will be dismissed at the conclusion of the 16th over. They've still got lots of wickets in hand, but this is exactly what the Victorians would have wanted.
Yeah, Mustafizur Rahman comes back strongly and picks up the same batter that he dropped a little while earlier. So Ryan Burl goes back to the pavilion for 13. Sylhet strikers 134 for 4. And it is the strategic timeout.
It's the final. Sylhet strikers batting first, 64 from Najmul Hussain Shanto. Looked good. Ryan Burl just got out last ball of the previous over. Got a life earlier. Mustafiz dropped him, but this time around it was Musaddiq taking a comfortable, well-judged catch. Had to go. Now, Mushfiqur Rahim gets into the act. He loves playing that shot. It does employ that so very well. 4 runs.
And that 4 brings up the 50 from Mushfiqur. Just 35 deliveries faced. And he needs to carry on to the end if he can.
Just another single. Pamela is waiting downstairs. Let's go down and join her.
BPL 220, and this is the finale. I have with me Dr. Mohammad Ismail Haider Malik, Director Bangladesh Cricket Board, Member Secretary of BPL Governing Council, Chairman Finance Committee of PCB. Hello. Ajki final. The stadium is full jam-packed. How far are you happy with this journey?
No, it's absolutely stunning because আমাদের এই বিপিএলটা throughout the tournament crowd was fantastic. আমাদের always weekend গুলিতে আমাদের spectators was almost full. Weekdays গুলিতে একটু কম হতো আর আজকে ফাইনালে তো we are in tremendous pressure for the match যাতে
We'll have to throw back to the comms.
Sunil Narayan doing the trick, getting rid of Tisara Pereira, and this is how he's done it. Just that ball, he seemed to flick it from the front of his fingers, and Pereira going for a big swing, misses completely, and the lights stop as Timber is hit. Goes without bothering the scorers, 139 for 5. Well, he comes in maybe a little earlier than Dr. George Linder. 1,519 runs in his 111th innings. And he's going to try and build up a partnership here with Mushfiqur Rahim. Reason he's there because of this. Not the best option. Oh, that was just past the bat. Intriguing ball. Let's go back to Pamela.
BPL is always fascinating and interesting and exciting. Crowd আপনি যেরকম বললেন যে অসাধারণ, আরেকটু কিছু বলুন।
আপনি জানেন যে দেখবেন যে আজকে তো ফুল স্প্যাক স্টেডিয়াম আমাদের এখানে অলমোস্ট প্রায় 35,000 স্টেডিয়ামে আছে, বাইরেও প্রায় অলমোস্ট 10,000 লোক দাঁড়ানো এবং লাস্ট 2 days we are in facing tremendous pressure for tickets. Everyone is asking for tickets. তো আমাদের যেহেতু লিমিটেশন, সিটের লিমিটেশন আছে, আমরা তো টিকিট এত দিতে পারি না। সো আলহামদুলিল্লাহ উই আর ভেরি হ্যাপি যে আমাদের বিপিএল এর দর্শক টার্নআউটটা ওয়াজ ফ্যান্টাস্টিক।
এবার বিপিএল এ আমরা অনেক নতুন লোকাল প্লেয়ার দেখেছি যারা দারুণ খেলছে। সো তাদের নিয়ে ফিউচারে কি ভাবনা চিন্তা?
দেখুন, অলওয়েজ এই টুর্নামেন্টটা করার আমাদের একটা অবজেক্টিভ থাকে যাতে লোকাল ট্যালেন্টসকে আমরা উঠিয়ে আনতে পারি। দিস ইজ দ্য অনলি T20 টুর্নামেন্টই আমাদের এই ক্যালেন্ডার ইয়ারে। সো এই বছর আমাদের যদি দেখেন তহিদ হৃদয়, শান্ত, রনি তালুকদার, অল দ্য ইয়াং চ্যাপস আর মানে কাম আপ। আপনি যদি বোলিংও দেখেন, হাসান মাহমুদ ইজ দ্য হাইয়েস্ট উইকেট টেকার, দেন নাসির হোসেন, তানভীর ইজ দেয়ার। সো উই আর ভেরি হ্যাপি। এবং ওদেরকে নিয়ে যেটা হয়, আমাদের HP ইউনিট বলে একটা ইউনিট আছে, তারা কিন্তু এই লোকাল ট্যালেন্টসদেরকে নিয়ে দীর্ঘমেয়াদী একটা প্রশিক্ষণের ব্যবস্থা করে।
থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ, থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ।
17 overs have been completed. It's 144 for 5. What's up to Mushfiqur Rahim? He's really played a wonderful hand in this Sylhet Strikers innings. 54 of 37. He's seen his partners come and go. And at 144 for 5 with 3 overs to go. Another 30 on the board would come in handy. Big swing of the bat. That's high in the air. It's going to fall into. Oh my goodness. Not for the first time. This is Moeen Ali of all people. Another one grasped.
What is going on here? He had all the time in the world. Slow delivery from Mustafizer. High in the night sky. He settled. And he spilled it. Look at that. Oh, that's a big letdown for the bowler.
There he goes again. Now a similar kind of elevation this time around. This is a dazzling one. An attempt by Liton Kumar Das. 2 and 2. Unbelievable.
It's all happening here at the National Stadium. That was a much more difficult chance. You can't blame him too much. He really covered. He covered it at the ground. He got there. Should have taken it. Went right through his hand. That's 2 and 2. What is happening here?
With the forward hands lashed onto it. And that's really rubbing salt into the wound. 2 drop catches and then the boundary.
Mustafizer, the bowler, is wondering what next must I do. 2 drop catches back to back and then now a boundary. This is not good cricket at this time by the Comilla Victorians. You got to take those catches.
Losing count on how many catches have been dropped, Sir Curtly, in this innings. Mustafiz himself dropped one of his own bowling. They're all totting up. There goes. Once again, not too far. And this time it's been taken. On the 3rd attempt, this is Liton Kumar Das. That smile of relief says it all. And eventually, Lindy holds out.
Well, finally, a catch has been taken. Litton does this time on the long on boundary. Spilled one earlier. But this time he made no mistake. George Linde, short stays gone. He's gone for 9. Sylhet Strikers 152 for 6.
Zakir Hassan just having a look around. Left-handed batter. He's 25 years old and it's been a decent enough BPL for him. 250 runs and a couple of 50s. Doesn't have much time to have a sighter assess the wicket. Mustafiz bowls it wide. It's slowed down. And he has a wild swipe at that one.
That was a previous delivery. That was a catch taken after 2 went down previously back to back. This time Litton Das held on.
Oh, another attempt and chance of trying to run him out as he went down the wicket. But what an eventful over that one. 18 done, 152 for 6. Holding things together is Mushfiqur Rahim with 54 of 37. And he swivels round, gets it, past the boundary. He's so adept at that. Really charging after the bowling now. All right, let's go down and join Kumilla again.
I have with me Sheikh Sohail, Director Bangladesh Cricket Board, Chairman of BPL, Governing Council, Chairman Marketing and Commercial Committee of BCB. এবারের বিপিএল আয়োজন করাটা খুব কঠিন ছিল, এতগুলো লিগ চলছে দেশ বিদেশে, তো কিভাবে অর্গানাইজ করলেন আর কেমন আপনারা খুশি, হাউ হ্যাপি আর ইউ?
থ্যাংক ইউ, আপনাকে ধন্যবাদ। আসলে এবার আমাদের জন্য বিপিএলটা চালানোর জন্য খুবই কঠিন ছিল এবং আপনারা জানেন যে অনেকগুলো দেশে একই টুর্নামেন্ট চলতেছিল। এর ভিতরে আমরা এবং আমাদের টিম সবার চেষ্টা এটাই সাকসেস হয়েছে। আর স্পেশালি আমি ধন্যবাদ দিতে চাই যারা ফ্র্যাঞ্চাইজিটা ছিল, তারা এই টুর্নামেন্টে আমাদের 100% সাপোর্ট করাতে এই টুর্নামেন্টটা সাকসেসফুল হয়েছে।
বিপিএল এর সবচেয়ে বড় অ্যাসেট হচ্ছে বিপিএল এর অডিয়েন্স, বাংলাদেশের লোকেরা। তো অডিয়েন্সকে নিয়ে কি বলতে চাইবেন?
না, অডিয়েন্স ব্যাপারে উই হ্যাভ নো কমান। আমার দেশে ইজ নট বিপিএল ক্রিকেটের জন্য সবাই পাগল এবং ক্রিকেট খেলাতে হলে সবাই অডিয়েন্স ইজ ভেরি হ্যাপিনেস।
অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ আমাদের সাথে কথা বলার জন্য। আর একটা আপনাকে লাস্ট প্রশ্ন জিজ্ঞাসা করবো যে আগের পরের বছরের জন্য কিছু প্ল্যানিং স্পেশাল?
অলওয়েজ উই আর ট্রাই দ্য বেস্ট। আমরা সবসময় বিপিএল একটা কোয়ালিটি থাকে, ওই কোয়ালিটি ভাবে আমরা ধরে রাখতে চাই এবং এখনকার যে ফরম্যাটটা আছে ভবিষ্যতে আমরা ওই ফরম্যাটে এগিয়ে যাবো। থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ।
Thank you so much for talking to us. Back to the calls.
Mushfiqur Rahim, 61 of 39. Into the 19th over, Sunil Narayan. Bowled well, controlled. But when Moshe is there, he always will take an opportunity of trying to put the ball away behind square on the onside. This time finds the fielder.
They again upstairs for a run out, which in my opinion, from my vantage point, isn't necessary. Let's have a look, Shamim. See if I'm right.
You are. They just go upstairs just to use the technology available, I suppose.
And that's the confirmation. I'm straight on, and I could tell. And the umpire spray on. Just a waste of time.
Walks across, doesn't get enough of the bat on it, and thus the opportunity for the fielder to come around and stop that ball from going to the boundary. Intentions are clear from Zakir Hassan, trying to get a move on. Mushfiqur Rahim, on the other hand, has gone on to 62. He's on strike now. Sunil Narayan, a couple of balls left in his quota of 4 overs. Good ball. Packs him up a little bit. All he can do is just close the face of the bat and amble the single.
With 1 over and 1 delivery left, I'm quite sure the Sylhet strikers will want to get in the vicinity of maybe 180. That's the end of the over. 19 gone, 162 for 6.
Into the last over of the Sylhet Strikers batting innings in the final of this Pahani BPL T20, powered by Minister in association with Knockout. Let's see what they can end up with. They need a big over. Mushfiqur Rahim is going to go on the charge, that's for sure. There he goes, moves away, doesn't time it properly. It just dropped short. And they scamper through for the second round and directed. I think he's gone. Yes, he is.
That is absolutely brilliant. Moeen Ali down at the long on position. They were scampering back for 2 which wasn't on, and a direct hit. Wasn't even in the frame, Zakir. This was absolutely brilliant. Look at that. Took it on the bounce. Settles himself. Direct hit. Andre Russell had nothing to do. He wasn't even in the frame.
Well, Moin Ali redeemed himself with that wonderful throw from the team to run him out. Zakir Hassan goes for 164 for 7. Well, the new batter is coming very quickly. Straight away, there's 2 runs coming. There's a little bit of a fumble. That has allowed them to complete that run safely.
Had he picked up that ball, it would have been another interesting situation. And that's what pressure does. He kicked it there off right away, looking for 2. A little bit of a stutter, look at that. It would have been gone had he picked it up, but he fumbles.
Yeah, he took his eyes off the ball, was watching the 2 runners crossing over. Holds it wide, and just within the guidelines. That's clever piece of bowling from the big man.
Well, that was touch and go. Could have gone either way.
Well, for once you must like it. Something for the bowlers to be given the benefit of. Down the leg side, Civils run, gets a hold of that one and promptly puts it away. You just cannot afford to err in line to Mushfiqur Rahim, who will pounce on you.
Did it go all the way for 6? Andre Russell trying to get a Yorker in. Didn't quite get it right. Turned out to be a full toss. And that's 6. Yes, it's gone all the way. And that will be signal 6 in a few short moments. Good strike from Mushfiqur.
3 deliveries to go. 172 for 7. Already a decent number on the board. He shuffles across. Yorker length ball, cleverly disguised, and a precious dot ball.
Very good comeback from Andre Russell. There was nothing much Mushfiqur could have done. And this was 2 deliveries ago. Went for the Yorker, missed pitch, and was chucked over fine leg for 6.
Last ball of the innings. Holds it wide. And it's been given as a no ball. Oh, right till the end of the innings. The happenings that started early is continuing in this Sylhet Strikers innings.
And a free hit being signaled. That is something Andre Russell would not want. Look at that. Yes, good call from the umpire. And a free hit. But did he nick it? That's another question. Yes, he did. Would have been a wicket, but he overstepped. Free hit.
And bizarre that could have been really very delighted with the wicket. The captain is a little pensive. The batters will fancy their chances. Mushfiqur Rahim on 72 of 47. Umpire just...
The thing with this and the free hit, he's gonna go hard at it. Mushfiqur, he can't be dismissed.
He does go hard at it. It's high in there. It's traveling straight to the fielder, but it's not going to come there because it's a free hit. They're going to get the couple of runs at the end, and that will add on. He did take the catch, hit on that, but as it was a free hit, he was not going to be out. 2 important runs added, and that makes 12 for the last over. After 20, the Sylhet Strikers end up at 175 for 7.
He probably didn't realize it was a free hit. He took the catch and just rolled the ball back in. And all the players were saying, you gotta get it in. Took it quite comfortably. He was never gonna be out of a free hit. Look at this. Took it and then let it go like, well, he's all over. Now he realized that looks like Litton dust. Andre Russell not amused. And they ended up getting an extra run. 175 to 7 off 20. Is it going to be enough? The total already on the board. And it's going to be an exciting chase.
Yes, indeed, and I think they've done well, the Kumilla team, to restrain Sylhet Strikers to 175 thanks to that 74 of 48 balls from the veteran, Mr. Dependable Mushfiqur Rahim, and chipped in at 64 earlier on was Najmul Hussain Shanto, really the backbone of the Sylhet Strikers innings. And have a look at the partnership, Shanto and Mushfiq putting up 79. And lots of little ones after that, but nothing as substantial as that brilliant partnership between Chanta and Mushfiq.
The bowlers tried their best to contain the Sylhet Strikers. A wicket apiece for Russell, Tanvir, Narain and Moeen. 2 for Mustafiza, who was good, but they still couldn't keep the Sylhet Strikers from getting to 175 for 7. Good total.
The runs are on the board for the Sylhet Strikers, and Kumilla Victorians need 176. If they're going to win this final, they'll have to go at 8.8. It's time for a short break, and we hope you're all going to join us for that good chase.
Welcome back to this Pahani BPL T20 for 2023, powered by Minister in association with Nogod. It's the final. The Kumilla Victorians taking on the Sylhet Strikers at the Sherry Bangla National Stadium here in Mirpur. Well, the Strikers, they didn't win the toss, they were inserted. Shanto has continued with his prolific form, going past 500 runs in the tournament, 64 of just 45 deliveries. A wonderful partnership between him and Mushfiqur Rahim. Mushfiqur Rahim ending unbeaten on 74 of just 48 deliveries.
Right, look at the bowling. It was good. It was impressive. Russell went for a few at the top. Tanvir good as usual. Well, Mukadil very surprisingly going at 10.5. But overall, I think the Comilla Victorians will be pleased with what they have got as a bowling unit.
It was Tawad Ridoy, who's also been in good form, who made his way out to the middle with Shanto. And Shanto immediately got on with things, finding the boundary before Tawad Ridoy lost his off stump to the very, very impressive Tanvir Islam. Mashraf Mortaza, the captain, elevated himself up the order. It's worked a few times in this competition, but not tonight. And then the partnership with Mushfiqur Rahim. Two very fine players who score both sides of the wicket. It was a well-judged partnership. We saw some elegant stroke play. We saw some brutal stroke play. The partnership yielding 79 in quick time.
Well, they had to continue, and that's exactly what they were trying. And then it was done by a slow delivery. This was the experience of Moin Ali. And that was the point that one felt that Sylhet lost their way. This man just continued. Run, ball, threatened, then sliced one. And I'm afraid the batting of Sylhet just struggled from there on. Mushfiqur Rahim just continued his good way and showed what a classy player he is. But you could have said the same thing from the other end. In his 350th game, Mr. Pereira getting out first ball. It will be rather forgettable. And some big ones, some easy catches dropped. And it wasn't the best of fielding performances by the Kumilla Victorians. But eventually holding on to a catch. But they needed to sharpen themselves, which was lacking sadly on an important day. And what about this man, Mushfiqur? Just continued, just kept going. And eventually, this just resulted in some really good fielding from the deep, a direct hit. But it was a good finish for the Sylhet Strikers. 175 for 7 is a very good score, going at 8.75 runs and over.
Yeah, more than respectable total. I don't think that the Kumilla Victorians were at their best in the field. I think they were a little bit lackadaisical. I know they've been very impressive throughout the tournament, winning 10 in a row after losing their opening 3 games. They've won 10 in a row. And it was almost as if they were a little bit overconfident coming into this match. And we saw them give a few runs away in the field. We saw them drop a few catches. But they will still fancy their chances in chasing this down, because I tell you what, they do have a powerhouse batting lineup. You think of Johnson, Charles, Sunil Narayan, who will probably get elevated up the order, Litin Kumar Das, and the best of them all, Andre Russell. It's been a very impressive crowd here this evening for the final. It's a jam-packed full house, the Sherry Bangla National Stadium, and I'll tell you what, the same amount of people are outside the ground wanting to get in, because trying to get into here a little bit earlier was almost impossible. The 2 umpires have done a good job so far in the final. There's always a little bit of pressure on them. Well, they got 20 overs to go, and the pressure will only keep climbing, because now we will find out in just a couple of overs who will raise that beautiful trophy and be crowned champions of the 9th edition of the Isfahani BPL.
Yes, indeed, 175 for 7. Sylhet will be challenged with their bowling attack to try and curtail the Comilla Victorians' batting. As you said, it's a very strong unit. But they'll have to understand how the bowling resources and how the bowling makeup would be. Well, they really have to call upon some players like Tanzim, Luke Good was good, Rubel. These are the guys who carry experience, but they'll have to find some quality bowling.
It's a great picture, isn't it? There's not 11 men there. That's the entire squad management staff, they're all there. It's almost like an American football team that are getting together. They're in it together. But these two men, well, they will be the two that will start things off and stand in the way of the Sylhet strikers. It will be Litton Kumar Das who will be at the top of the order, and what a player he is. He is lovely to watch in whatever format that you're watching Bangladesh in. He really has come into his own as a batter in the last couple of years, hasn't he?
That's why this contest is a mouth-watering one. We've just seen some real quality batting from Shanto. We did see Mushfika do that, and this side, we spoke about Litton Kumar, there's Johnson Charles. Well, we do know that Russell can be really punishing. And there's Imrul Kais, Mossadegh, Jakar Ali, they're all very capable batters. So this is a strong batting lineup, a lot of muscle in that batting. But let's not forget that Sylhet has the runs on the board, and it is for Comilla to try and get it. The question is, can Sylhet strikers, with their rather depleted bowling resources, try and make an impression?
I must admit, I'm always a little bit surprised when you get into these. And this is a knockout game. This is the biggest knockout game of all, when a captain wins the toss and says he will chase. I think there's so much pressure on teams in a final already. To have them chase is sometimes a very big ask. But nowadays, players are not fearful of any score. This man, a strike rate of 127 in this year's edition of the BPL. Best of 70. He's made significant contributions already. But it's the man at the other end who will partner him. Now, this is interesting because he was elevated to the top of the order in the previous game and he came off. It's the strike rate that the Victorians are looking for from Sunil Narayan. He comes out swinging, so don't expect anything responsible from the West Indian left-hander. He will try and find boundaries from the very first ball. He won't waste any time, and if he gets out, no one will mind. But that will be his job description. Rubal Hussain, well, he will be responsible for keeping them quiet.
And as far as Sunil Narayan is concerned, what the Sylhet strikers would want to do is minimize the damage he can cause. Well, if he hangs around for a few overs, maybe 2 or 3 overs, or the first 6 overs, if he could get that far, he can really create mayhem because he's such a striker, as you said. Right, here's the first ball.
One slip in place. And Litton Das has said, I'm not quite ready yet. I just want the side screen to be changed. Isfahani is getting its last bit of mileage, and rightly so, because what wonderful sponsors they have been for this edition of the BPL. Powered by Minister in association with Milrod. Already, down a deep square leg and a deep third. Those are the two boundary riders. A little bit of swing, just a hint.
Nice length to start with from Rubal. He's decent with his pace from the mid 130s to the high 140s is what he bowls at, but just the hint of movement, and the length was nice as well. Just that in between length. He was looking to come forward and then playing from the crease.
Bowled again. Das almost looking as though he wants to get Narayan on strike here. He won't miss out on a poor delivery, but it's almost if I get a good one, can I get Narayan on strike? Because Sunil Narayan went after Rubal in the first qualifier to see which one of these teams would go straight through to the final. We know the Victorians won that one, and he did some serious damage up front. 39 of his 18 balls. That's gone fine, that's gone fine. And they have their first boundary.
Well, not exactly the way he wanted it, because I thought the ball stayed down a little bit. It was moving away from the batter, but he managed to get it fine. Definitely the width and those hands, extension of the hands. That's the danger. You just got a third. He's got a very square third, but with that kind of width, he can also go in front of square. So there is a danger of bowling that line and length earlier on with the power plays on.
With that little bit of shape he's getting, I know it's a T20, but almost wants to encourage Litton to drive. Well run single. This will bring the left-hander on strike. Right, get to the edge of your seats. This could be fun.
If he starts to try and bring it back into Narayan, he's going to enjoy this, Sunil Narayan, because he's somebody who likes to hit down the ground. He's got a wide array of strokes. Never really thought that he could bat so well when he started bowling and made an impression as a bowler. But he's just developed another aspect to his cricket.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what sort of length he bowls here, Arubal, because in his first over to Sunil Narayan in that qualifier, he pitched it up and Narayan made merry. But then he came back and he dragged his length back a bit and started to bowl a few bounces. And Narayan didn't look as comfortable. But it is a dangerous length to bowl if you want to go short, because fine leg is up in the circle. And Narayan very seldom ducks. He likes to have a flap at anything. Oh, that's beautifully bowled. Beautifully bowled. Narayan was eyeing it up, wasn't he? He was looking to have a swing, but that's swung back beautifully.
That's a very good length as well. It just came back, as you said. Look at his feet, just went nowhere. He was stuck in his crease because he was hardly through the shot when the ball went through him. Came back, yes, the front foot was cleared. He was looking for the offside. And look at the keeper going.
Yeah, brilliant. Over the top of off stump. You almost don't want to hit the stumps because that might be the length that Narayan's looking for. You might be a little bit too full if you're trying to hit the stumps. That was perfect. There we go, perfect. Again, over the top of the stumps. Good first over, just 5 from it. It's 5 without loss. Wow, look at the power to come. Johnson Charles down to come at number 3. Then the control for Emerald Case, Mossadegh, Jakar Ali, Moeen Ali, and the finisher, Andre Russell. There's been plenty of debate, though, I'm sure, around when to release him. When is the right time to send him in? Some teams can send him in a little bit too late, and he's not able to do the damage that he can do. Tanzim Hassan Saqib. He's been expensive. Economy rate of over 9. Oh, this is help yourself. This has gone all the way. What a cricket shot that is.
Brilliant. Made it look easy. Litton Das. Such a stylist. We've spoken about how good he is. How pleasant he is on the eye. That was a proper cricket shot. Banged in short. In fact, not very short, I must say. He played a great shot. Just rode the bounce. Didn't really rock back. But hit him from where he was. That was a brilliant shot.
Now he goes through the offside. He can play off any foot. Litton Kumar does. Front or back.
Well, he's got the technique to succeed at this level. He's got the shots to succeed at this level. Well, he doesn't have to be a big hitter of the ball. Shots like this, timing. The previous one just short of a length. This one pitched up. And he threads it through the offside. Look how beautifully completed. Look at the face of the bat. Really beautiful. Didn't really have that flourish, but he checked and threw extra cover. Lovely shot. Great finish.
And there was just a little graphic that appeared in the bottom left-hand side of your screen around shot timing from Litton Kumar Das. And I think for the first time during this tournament, we saw it read 100%. And what that means is that the speed that he creates from the top of his backswing to the connection of the ball is, does it reach its optimum speed at connection? And that's exactly what it did. So the fastest the bat ever travelled It's a big shot from the bowler. The umpire has said not out. There will be a discussion, but I don't think they'll go upstairs. So at point of contact, the bat was actually going at its fastest, and that's what gave it that timing of 100%.
Amazing technology, isn't it? Well, I remember when the speed gun came on, how excited the world was. This is another look, pace of the ball. That's well wide outside the Austin. I was wondering what Tansen was appealing for. But now this bat speeds, the power generator, that's a new thing. That's going to excite a lot of people. That will also increase the stakes of batters. Right, we got Narayan on strike.
Not an empty seat. There goes Narayan. Here goes Narayan.
That's his favorite area. He loves to go straight. Loves the length delivery. And I'm afraid Tanzim's going full. And pace on the ball is just what Narayan wants. Definitely. Look, he just stood there, used the pace and hit through the line. Great swing of the bat. Clearing that front leg again. Which is an indication that he loves to go straight away.
Now through cover. Tanzim's getting the length all wrong here. You don't want to be fooled at Sunil Narayan. You will get punished. The second over is ended. It's 26 without loss. They've got the start they were looking for, Kumilla Victorians. And Kumar Das has looked imperious. That's what he does. He just times the ball. There's no big flourish. It's just beautiful to watch.
Have a look at that drive through extra cover. Again going full. Look at where he is. He loves that offside, loves to go straight. Tanzim making the mistake of going too full. Completely wrong in his line and length, and particularly the length. At 27 runs, they just fed off that over. Massive over, that one.
Deep square leg. There's no boundary big enough if he finds the middle of the bat. Rubel was exceptional against Narayan in his first over. What's the length? What is the length? That's what's critical. There we go. He gets it right. There we go. George Linder takes the catch. Huge wicket.
That's the length he's not very comfortable with. That's the length that he really doesn't score much. Anything full or length deliveries he'll feast on, but back of a length is not his cup of tea here. That was quicker, that bounced a bit. He was not in the right position to play that shot, and eventually good catch. Linder going back and well, he's got his man. He certainly knew. Great piece of work by the bowler. Narayan out for 10, 27 for 1.
Imral Case, the captain. 216 runs at an average of just 18. Not that averages mean anything in T20, it's more those strike rates, but a best of 35. He's a much better player than this. But how about a skipper performing on the biggest stage? Winning it for his team. He's off the mark immediately. Well, the good thing for the Sylhet strikers is they got rid of a very dangerous man.
Sunil Narayan, he doesn't hang around. Just likes to play his shots. And this time completely miscuing it. He hasn't wasted any ball at all, 10 or 5. So in a sense, he's done what he was sent for. Kumilla would have liked him to bat a little bit longer. And good catch by the man. Just running around, not always easy when it falls almost above your shoulder.
He's a good fielder. Took 2 stunning catches against the run tour riders. Again, Das just times it down to do a very square backward point.
That delivery didn't bounce as much. There have been deliveries that just climbed and went through, but that just stayed down a bit. But again, the width outside the off-step allowing him to play that shot.
He's a bit fortunate to get away with that, really. Fine leg up in the circle. There's still some bowlers here for the men in pink. Luke Wood, who did such a good job the other night against the run tour riders. The left armour from England, Luke Wood. The captain, Mashafri Mortaza, we know that he has been nursing the odd niggle, but he's done a superb job throughout this tournament in keeping people quiet with his little outswingers and cutters and just intelligence. Very neat, very neat. And away for 4.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Waiting for the ball to come on to him and just played the angle and the gap. 34 for 1.
The dangerous Narayan is gone. But Litton Das does look in good form. He looks in good nick. He's played some lovely strokes. None better than this one.
Just really used the pace. Look at how easily he guides it. It's pure timing. Timing and class. He has so much of time to play those shots. So anybody who enjoys quality batting, Litton Das is a great example of that.
He needs to hang on to that jersey for just a few more overs. George Linder, left arm spinner from South Africa. This is down too long on and taken Imral Case. It's not going to be his night.
I'll tell you, that's a very good catch. It was travelling and it was hit hard. Tisara Pereira, the fielder, is a very safe catcher. Another look. This is flat. And look how it's climbing. That's a very good catch. He timed the jump. He's a tall guy. Made it look easy. Yeah, it's not his night. In fact, it's not been his tournament really. He's a much better player than what he's returned. Out for 2. 34 for 2.
Johnson Charles. Already 100 to his name in this BPL. What an innings that was. Unbeaten, 107. This is all power. If he gives himself a chance and gets in, the score will be 30 short. That he's got to get himself in. Another look. This is Imrul Kais. He hasn't really had a good tournament. He was looking to hit it through or hit over long on. That was travelling. Tisara Pereira timed the jump. Was hit with a lot of power. Made that catch look easy. Picked the wrong fielder because he's got a safe pair of hands. Tisara Pereira moves well, gets himself into a good position. No way that ball was coming out. Two dots to start with. Now we know that Johnson Charles is a big hitter of the ball, but he'll have to be very watchful. It's a different kind of approach you'll need here. It's not about blasting the bowling. They've lost 2 wickets. It's about a foundation. It's about some stability to this Comilla innings. A wicket and 3 dots. What about a maiden in a final? Surely not. There's a few nerves in the ground, that's for sure. Traditional left arm spinner, no mystery about George Linder. Likes to deliver the ball from a decent height. He's likes to spin the ball away from the right-hander. Oh, there's a little bit of turn in the bounce that he likes. Just a bit of grip, I thought. He is not moving forward, not a great stride in, but as you said, just a bit of turn and bounce. The CEO of Bangladesh cricket. Some dignitaries. We're very pleased with what this B has achieved out of this tournament. A maiden wicket for George Linder. What an over that is. 4 gone, 34 for 2. Sylhet strikers putting 175 on the board at the moment. They're controlling the traffic. They've picked up 2 wickets in the power play. But these 2 batters out there in the middle, they've got the experience of big games and they know how to handle the pressure. They have to use that experience to set up this run chase. They have scored on a rapid pace, but those 2 wickets have certainly stymied the progression of this innings. Luke Wood, the left-arm fast bowler, been introduced into the attack. What an over the previous one from George Linder, a brilliant cricketer. Short pitch. Hits the ball straight to the fielder. We're expecting an exciting finish at it.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I reckon this match will be a nail-biting finish because Sylhet strikers will not back down. This is the final. Both teams will need to be at their best to ensure that they go on. Lovely touch, beautifully played. He's a class act, isn't he? Litton Kumar Das. That's a sweet boundary.
Effortless. He exactly knew where the fielders were delayed the stroke ever so slightly to be able to hit the ball in the wicket area. Showing his experience, Liton Kumar Das. As long as he's there, for Comilla, they have a chance to win this one.
Kumilla will not forget that Sylhet strikers defended a total of 182 against Rangpur Riders in that qualifier 2. The bowlers were very, very impressive. Tanzim Hassan Shakib, who went for plenty in the only over that he has bowled, was player of the match with 2 for 19 and 4. They have the firepower in the bowling attack, Sylhet strikers.
Yeah, talking about Tanzim. He got caught in the whirlwind of Sunil Narayan and Liton Das. Yeah, showing his inexperience, but how about that man, Mushfiqur Rahim? He came good for his side, batted brilliantly. Yeah, if you're thinking of coming to the ground, stay at home. There is no seat available. Chances arms. Very lucky. The ball didn't carry to the fielder. 8 runs of the over. It's 42 for 2. This game is evenly poised. Liton Das has his eye in, along with Johnson Charles. They need a partnership. We're talking about this young man, Josh Linda. He's been absolutely brilliant. Bowled a wicket maiden. He's getting a hint of turn as well, George Linda. Bowling great lines. And the wicket he picked up, the reaction afterwards was when he was pointing towards his temple. You have to use your brains to be able to pick up wickets in this format, especially in the power play. But that was a long hop. And got the treatment it deserved.
Yeah, poor delivery. Now, he's not going to get away with that. Especially when you're bowling to someone like the Johnson Charles. Now, it's a good pick-up shot. Couple of bounce to the fence. It was short, down the leg side. Easy pickings for Johnson Charles.
Yeah, nothing intelligent about that delivery, that's for sure. Yeah, those were the reactions when he picked up the wicket. I thought hard about that pin, where to deliver the ball, and I've been rewarded. It's all about using the brains. George Linda has to be wary of the fact he dragged the last one very short. Batsman is going to be ready for a full pitch delivery. Nicely bowled, nicely bowled. Running hard, running hard. Got them quite easily. Lots of enthusiasm out there in the aisles. The people showing their emotions, showing their involvement in the game. And plus they know, if they show the enthusiasm there, have a chance to pick up a bat signed by the player of the match. Only 6 runs so far from this over. Hits the ball. Oh, straight to the fielder. Oh, he dropped it. Oh, no.
Yeah, the fans cannot believe it. Mashri Murtaza cannot believe it. But you gotta believe it. It's Rubal Hussain. Fumbles. Bit of a grab. And then the ball just bounces out. Unbelievable. What an opportunity. Johnson Charles was the batter.
Oh, that's a big let off. He's a dangerous player, Johnson Charles. Once he gets his eye in, he becomes a nightmare for the bowlers. Huge moment in this game. Should have been taken.
Yeah, how many times it went to grab it? At least 3 to 4 times. Well, that can turn out to be a very costly miss.
Yeah, kept on juggling with that delivery, that opportunity. But was grasped. Even Litton Das is now showing respect to Josh Linda. He has realized he's a dangerous bowler. You can't go after him. If you go after him, he'll create those opportunities. He kept on juggling with that one. Should have been taken. It was a simple catch. Following the suit of Comilla Victorian fielders. End of the power play. It's 49 for 2.
After the power play, Kumilla and Sylhet are pretty similar apart from those 7 runs in between them. Similar number of wickets. Done and dusted. The power play. Well, what an opportunity. In the previous over, Lindo could have picked up his 2nd wicket. But he would need support from the field. Pisara Pereira from the minister and right arm medium. 350 T20 matches in his career. 275 wickets. Well, he would need to create some chances. They are creating chances, but it's not been grabbed.
Yeah, it was a disappointing effort with the bat, but he can certainly redeem himself by picking up a wicket here for his side. Edged. Flew past the vacant slip area. 4 runs. Pressure on the bowler.
Yeah, a little bit on the right to the keeper, Zakir Hassan. That boundary brings up the 50 for Kumilla Victorians. That could have easily gone straight to the hands if there was a slip in place. No slip in place. Doesn't matter. He'll take the boundary.
Yeah, these 2 batters have a very strong reputation. Oh, he used the feet. Hits the ball in the air. And it has disappeared. 10 runs on first 2 deliveries. Excellent beginning.
And that shot has made a big statement. Down the wicket. I don't mind what you're gonna do. This is what I can do. I can do the damage with the bat by going down the wicket and take you on. 4 followed by a 6.
Ominous. Oh, the bowling side. And this man, Johnson Charles, got his eye in. Given the opportunity in the previous over, is looking to cash in. that's how the thing started. For Comilla, Victorians lit Das and Sunil Narayan. Turn up some heat before that happened. That was a good catch from George Linda. Huge shout, huge shout. Looks like the back was involved on that occasion, that's why.
Yeah, catch also getting himself definitely good catch on the deep from Kisara Perala. Johnson Charles played some shot, but that one straight in and out. Ruben Hussain was the fielder.
Yeah, this partnership is brewing. 26 from 22 deliveries already. Looks like Little Das means business. Making sure they are keeping abreast of the required run rate. "12 of the over, 61 for 2. Yeah, look, Wood and Linda has been decent. The ball is getting a tap. It's 61 for 2. They're looking to chase down 175 runs. Need 115 from 78 deliveries. Huge attendance. It was hard to get to the ground. People flocked in. Understandably so. It's the final of Isfahani BPL T20 2023. Powered by Minister in association with Nagor.
They're just going back to that drop chance. Remember, Johnson Charles has smashed the 107, unbeaten 107, with 11 sixes and 5 4 and just 56 deliveries, facing a total of 210. Premier Bank Khulna Tigers, that was in Sylhet. But that can turn out to be a costly miss because he can really hurt you. Yes, you mentioned about the required run rate. It's still hovering under 9 runs in an over, so you really don't need an innings which is going great guns. You just have to make sure that you stay there and build on this partnership. 29 of 25 now.
Seems like Little Das has given himself a role that he's gonna be there for his side till the last over. Batting conservatively. Relying on rotating the strike. Nudging the ball into the gaps. Now once again, bowling quite well, George Linda.
They seem to realize that he's bowling really well, so they're showing him a lot of respect. They've only picked up 3 singles in this 4 ball that they have faced in this over. So you really don't want to take any chances or just play him out. Because if you do that, then things will be easier. The only problem for Kumilla Victorian is that if they start losing wickets.
Yeah, you're right. You need to play intelligently against this left arm spinner who's bowling intelligently, bowling with the right pace, which is not allowing the batsmen to use their feet. He's forcing them to play from the crease. Another good over. Only 4 runs from it. It's 65 for 2.
We're setting up to be quite humdinger of a match here, the final of this edition of the BPL, the Spani BPL T20, held by Minister in association with Nogod, and runs on the board for the Sylhet Strikers, and a good riposte by the Kumilla Victorians. Neck and neck at the moment, still needing 9.25 per over, going at 8.13. This is an impressive young bowler, Tanzim. Short, slapped away. He's going to find a fielder in the deep. Does well to stop it. Because there is a bit of wetness around. With the dew falling, the ball can get a little slippery. Got to be careful that you place your body behind any fielding effort.
The change of ends for Tanzim Hasan Saqib. Went for some runs in his first over, went for 20. Was the player of the match in the second qualifier against Rangpur Riders, where he picked up a couple of wickets and gave away only 19 runs.
Dash has to wait for that to come on. Intelligent. When you realize that the batters are in an aggressive mood, you make sure that you slow down the ball. And in the process, with that slippery ball I was talking about with the moisture, it is difficult when you roll your fingers over. You tend to lose your line and length. But on that occasion, Tanzim did pretty well.
Certainly capable of taking wickets. Full on this occasion, hit hard but straight to the fielder. Just had the pleasure of speaking to him last day when he was rewarded as the player of the match, and he mentioned how Mashrafi has backed the youngsters, and I asked him, what is the difference? You know, you're so young, you're playing under the leadership of someone like Mashrafi, and he said the freedom he gives and the confidence he gives to the young players allows them to perform.
Gives him the charge. It's the inside out shot. He's going to get him 4 runs. That is a very, very good looking shot. Liton Das has bided his time. But this one, just that movement of the feet, getting inside the line. Look at this lovely execution of the shot. Frees his arms.
Yeah, he generated some power on that occasion by carving down the wicket. Liton Das, beautiful timer of the ball. And look how far he has come to the front to hit that. Found the gap as well.
Coming up with the good innings when it mattered. It is the final. This young man will be under pressure. Little tuck around the corner. Going to be a chase on, and does well. In the deep, commitment shown. Got to support your bowlers with that kind of fielding effort.
They certainly need to be on their toes, Liton Das. Big occasion, bringing the best of the best. Rubel Hussain was there in the deep this time, doing his job properly. Rubel on that occasion already been 9 of this over.
Again, that's going to be a wide re-bowl that on this occasion, trying to slow it down. That's the point I was making a little while earlier, is how you control the line of the ball, particularly when you're trying to bowl a slow delivery. You roll your arm or the back of the hand. All the efforts made, or the knuckleball for that matter, on that occasion going a little awry.
Straight away, we Observe Mashrafi. That's what you were talking about. Very hard to control with the dew.
Nice little guide away. Protection at third. Single results. 11 from the ninth over. It's 76 for 2. And they're going to have a look at the plans because they take a strategic timeout. George Linde has been really impressive. 1 for 11 in his 3 overs, going at economy of 3.67 when the run rate for the batting team is 8.44. Crowd have enjoyed what has happened. The comparisons, not too much between the two teams, 67 to 76. Comilla a little bit ahead. This is Leighton Kumar, looking confident. He hasn't tried to really attack the bowlers per se. He's prepared to bide his time. He's been patient and he's picked the right balls to hit. In cases we've seen him have a little bit of a rush of blood. Not today, so far anyway. Leg break. And that's a googly going the other way from Ryan Burl.
Ryan Burl, sixth bowler introduced for Sylhet Strikers. His leg breaks. 49 wickets in his T20 career. Short. He will only get a single. They're looking for a breakthrough, Sylhet Strikers.
Yes, they desperately need to break this partnership, which is worth 44 of 39. Bringing in Burl, maybe he'll entice them. We've seen him bowl a googly, slow sort of an orthodox leg spinner. Is he going to tempt Leighton Dash with a floated delivery? He does, and he almost falls into that trap. You know, he took one hand off. Wasn't the most controlled shot, but he's going to get a couple of runs there. But good thinking on the part of Ryan Burl.
Definitely got a cheeky smile on his face because of that. But thankfully, Leighton Dash took off that bottom hand so that the ball did not carry all the way to the fielder. Partnership now 46 of 40. Very handy one.
Content. Dab and run. See, when you realize that the bowler is controlling things, he's getting a little bit of purchase, that is the best option, is rotate the strike. Maybe Charles, with the life he has had. It was Rubel Hussain who bowled very well, but in the deep he dropped a catch which could turn out to be vital, because Charles can be very explosive. Is he going to take on Burl? It's wide, it's going to be rebowled again. Burl wants to bowl that as far away from the arc of Charles as he can. In the process, it's a wide. Another run, another delivery. Civil down the right side. Got a bit of bat, maybe pad. Wait and see if there's a signal from the umpire. It is off the bat. 4 runs to finish an over. That over, 86 for 2. Well, at the end of the game today, lots of prize money to be given out. Player of the match, 5 lakhs, and the big ones, the runner-up getting 10 million, 20 million. Tuckers to the winners. Who is it going to be? Going to be Comilla Victorians or the Sylhet Strikers? Batter not quite ready. That partnership really building up, really looking threatening now. 52 of 43 balls. He can ill afford to drop Johnson Charles. They've seen him now, really getting into rhythm. This is Liton Kumar Dash on strike. On 42. Quick fire 30. 5 fours and a 6. Luke Wood. Guys, intelligently done. Just past the fielder. A diving, despairing attempt in the deep. Does not succeed. It's gone through for 4 runs.
That is class. This is class from Liton Dash. Just a gentle push. Using the pace of the bowler, finding the gap and making sure that it is away from that fielder. A third man who was very fine. Despairing effort, not enough.
Liton Dash will fancy his chances. This is him versus pace. You see the boundaries. He's prepared to use the depth of the crease with those balls on the crease. Again, using the angle so very nicely. He has such supple wrists as Liton Dash. He uses the angles, played the ball late, as we saw a couple of deliveries back when he just used the pace of the bowler to put it away to the boundary. Placement perfect. He's on 47.
Need 85 runs now. Required run rate 8.79 with 8 wickets in hand. Shouldn't be a worry for the Comilla Victorians in search for a wicket. The Sylhet Strikers.
Good ball, Luke Wood. He brings out some respect in terms of a dead bat from Johnson Charles. Experienced bowlers. The crowds have really enjoyed themselves. Support for both the sides here in the final. And chock-a-block. They're up to the rafters here. Pensive looking Mushfiqur Rahim knows that desperate need of a breakthrough here. Down the wicket. Doesn't really make good contact, but and also doesn't find the gap in the field. Trying to hit the ball too hard in the process, not timing it.
Came down the wicket, didn't quite middle it on that occasion. Johnson Charles using his feet, didn't quite get hold of it. Toy in the middle, in the deep. Yes, we haven't seen Mashrafi Murtaza coming on with the ball tonight yet. He's got 12 wickets with an Well bowled and fielded. But he's got an economy of 7.65 as well, and they need wickets.
That is a big surprise. Good point, Shamunna, because you'd expect Mashrafi always thinks out of the box. He always comes in and breaks partnerships. He elevated himself in the batting order, did not succeed. But maybe we'll see him come on. Captain Courageous, a man for all seasons. But here's a man, Luke Wood, who's done well so far. He wants to finish in a proper manner with a dot ball if possible. Just the single as it's tucked away. Good over, just the 7 from it. 93 for 2. Return Kumar Dash and Johnson Charles. 59, the partnership of 49 balls. Return just 2 short of what will be another very good 50. And what a time it will happen when his team are on the verge of going to that target, overtaking the target and getting their hands once again on that coveted trophy. Likes the ball, picks it out. There is someone coming around.
Yeah, Pearl to continue. Full on back. They are so happy, Kumilla Victorian supporters. The most successful franchises in this Isfahani BPL. Of course, over the years, already 3 championships to their name.
Chops it. Finds the fielder. Well, the most enthusiastic BPL fan is there for all to see. Oh, going to have that prize of a signed bat by the player of the match of the final. What a prize to earn. Big swing of the bat. Once again, the timing a little awry. Only the singles. They've just put the brakes on here. The bowlers have done a good job. Comilla still needing 81 of 51. A few dot balls, a few more singles. Still no Mashrafi Mortaza with the ball in hand. 49. Tucks it away, gets a single, gets to his 50. Lead on Kumar Dash, take a bow. It's come at a very, very important time. And it's appreciated by the dugout. It's appreciated by all the supporters that have run the ground here. Another very, very good innings from Liton Dash.
Striking at 128, and what a moment. Couldn't have come at a better time for the team. 6 4s and 1 6 in that 50s, third 50 in this edition of Isfahani BPL T20 2023.
Oh, trying to get underneath that one once again. Not getting a perfect place in the bat, and you'll feel a little relieved. You can see Ryan Burl's face. Was worried that if the batter did manage to get underneath that, that's what he's shying at. He's shadowing that, and is hoping that he can do that next time he bats. But it is Liton Dash to face the last delivery of the 12th. Is he going to open up further now that he's got his 50? First Sewell's round is just over the top. And it's going to be a teaser. The ball wins the race to the boundary. It finishes on a high, does Liton Dash. 100 comes up for Comilla after 12. It's 101 for 2.
Just look at those two worms. They're hugging each other. That's how close it is. But I can tell you, Kumilla should be comfortable, courtesy this man, Little Das. 54, 37, 7 fourths and 6. He looks an artist, isn't he, Sir Kirtley?
Certainly he's a good player. He's playing a fantastic knock for his team. They need him to stay there towards the end, Roshan, just to make sure they get over the line. He looks really good, plays some wonderful strokes. Brings up his 50. What an innings he's playing for his team. But he got to carry on.
Yes, he definitely has. But now this is the stage that they don't want to give wickets. They just don't want Sylhet to come back. He's sliding down the leg side, the single. So, see, Comilla might look comfortable, 75 or 48, but there are little facers in a game. Now this face, let's take a look at that boundary. This is Little Das, just waited for it and got that boundary. It was a teaser, but they got the run rate down. 9.45 is all what they need, but they need to fight this next 2 or 3 overs.
It's going to be very important. They don't want their run rate to climb to 10 plus. And at the same time, they don't want to lose a wicket. It's a nice partnership building. 68 from 56 deliveries. And these two have to take it as close as possible to that 176 that is needed.
That should be the plan because they got so much of firepower. And they have Russell, they have Moeen Ali, they got Jafar Ali, they got Mosadek. So they got plenty of options as a batting unit. So now they got to 73 of 46, 9.5 runs and over in T20 cricket. Coming in towards the last phase of the innings. Shouldn't be too much challenging with wickets in hand. Short one. He'll find the fielder.
And they do have a lot of batting power still to come. Some good finishers. But we've seen so often that when it's a good partnership and they lose a wicket, sometimes they lose 2, 3 in quick succession. And then all of a sudden, you're under tremendous pressure. So it is so important that these two players, Little Das and Johnson Charles, stay there for as long as possible. Try to get them close to the runs, if not, get to the total.
That's a fair batting power they got. Russell's not included in that list as yet. Ah, this is what we were talking about. How high has that gone? Will this be taken? Oh yes, it is being taken. That's the wicket they were after. They needed the breakthrough. Those hands go up. But how big is this wicket?
That's a huge wicket. Huge. He was looking so positive. He was in total control, Little Das. And that was a beautiful catch, Roshan. It went high in the night skies. And look at that. Took it very well in the end. Shanto, and look at that dance. He got a bit of rhythm. They know how big that wicket is. Little Das. What a breakthrough. The partnership comes to an end. Little Das goes for 55. The Comilla Victorians 104 for 3.
You talk of strong batting lineups. Look at the man who's just in Moeen Ali. Look at what he has. Strike rate over 140, a best of 121, 5,500 plus runs, 248 innings. You're talking of a legendary cricketer here. He's been in this position many times before in his career. Right, he's on strike. This is Rubel. He's bowled well. He's got 2 for 15 so far. Straight away.
He's an experienced campaigner, Moeen Ali. He's been around for a while, and the reason he's here is because of this. Brilliant catch from Shanto in the deep. It went miles in the night sky. Look at the focus. Look at the concentration. And he took it quite easily in the end, and it gave a little bit of a dance.
There's a bit of a Caribbean flavor there. They hit the moves. Very clever move, but it was a high swelling catch. Not an easy one. Never easy when you're under pressure, big final in front of a big crowd, knowing it's an important catch. Alright, Johnson Charles on strike. Got 3 for 4. Well bowled, very well bowled. Excellent bowling. Ends the over. 105 for 3. Right, that's 105 for 3. Charles 33 of 30. He's still just taking his time. He's not started to express himself. He's just taking his time here. 71 of 42. Moeen just in. 1 of 1. Right, Tanzim's back. He's gone surprisingly for 31 runs in 2 overs. Tanzim has been better. Look at that crowd, I'll tell you. It's been a magnificent crowd, not a seat available. Every seat taken, and I'm sure there must be an equally large number of people outside disappointed not being able to get to the ground. Because that's how we read it when we were coming to the ground. It was massive, the interest level. Right, decisive face, very, very decisive. Can Sylhet get another wicket? That's off with a slow ball.
The thing about T20 cricket is that 1 or 2 big overs always change the complexion of the game. And the flip side to it is they pick up a wicket or 2, change the game towards the fielding teams. So, you know, it's always ifs and buts and back and forth and all that stuff. That's what makes this so entertaining. The ebbs and flows. So you're never out of the game until it's all over.
And I'm sure they must be pretty tensed. Very, very tensed. All of them look tensed, I'll tell you. From round the wicket, goes full. Johnson Charles loves full deliveries, loves length deliveries. He tends to go straight and hard. You've got to be sure of the length that you bowl to this man. He's such a strong player.
I reckon for Johnson Charles, and he's going to go full. He's going to go full and close his pads. Take away that free swing. Have a better chance than to go outside off stump.
Oh, that didn't really come on. Wondering whether he took pace off the ball. It didn't bounce. I know he was through with it a little bit early.
No, normal delivery. Just missed it completely. Would have better served him. Would have served him better. Moeen Ali, if he tried to go through the offside. Trying to hit it to the leg side, missed it.
I think it's the length that made him look to play that shot, because the natural inclination, length, short ball to try and pull it away on the leg side. Now that's something that he could go through the offside, which he does. That was a poor delivery, a full toss, a boundary.
Moeen Ali has got some fans in the stands. Probably searching for the Yorker. Tanzim. And mispitched. Turned out to be a low full toss. And Moeen Ali, an experienced campaigner, just put it away quite easily. And that's what I kept saying, Roshan, that Yorker is probably the most difficult deliveries to bowl. It's a high risk delivery. The margin of error is so minimal.
Right, let's see what the follow-up delivery is. Apesh again in the gap. More runs. Now, I'm a little bit surprised because mid-off is inside the circle, extra cover saving 1, and you're going full. And also giving that width outside the off-stump.
Not very good bowling. Slow delivery attempted, but was too full. Not good bowling. Not good field placings as well. You got to bowl closer to Moeen Ali. You can't afford to go wide about some with a mid-off in the circle and no extra cover field under boundary. You're asking for trouble. And that's exactly what happened those last 2 deliveries from Tanzim.
I can tell you, Mustafiz is not happy at all. Ashrafi, I beg your pardon, not happy at all. He just appeared to give him a few strong words. Now he's gone down to long off. Last ball of the over. Little chip over, mid-wicket, this time a single. 14 gone, 116 for 3. They got quite a few bowling options here. But some of them have gone for a few. Look at Tisera, he's gone for 12. Tanzim, very unlike him. Been impressed with the way he's bowled in the tournament, going at 14. Ryan Burl at 9. This is the problem. Tisera has gone at 12. So now this is the problem. I always thought that Sylhet strikers will struggle with their bowling resources, particularly against this strong Comilla batting lineup. Yeah, I remember their Pakistan internationals, Mohammad Amir and Imad Wazim. Right, Linda. Now he'll be different here, the way he bowls. When he started off, he was looking for some grip, some turn, but now he's looking to try and bowl it a little bit quicker.
They want to at least take another wicket now, as quickly as possible. The Sylhet strikers. Maybe someone like a Johnson Charles who has been there for a while. We can dismiss him now, get a new batter in. So it means it will relatively be 2 new batter. Mohicans only received 7 deliveries, so it's basically new. So Johnson Charles will be a wicket they would like to get now.
At the moment, just 10 and a bit is the required rate. Very good man at point. To start with the dot balls will be good, just to try and build a bit of pressure. But the point is, these 2 players at the wicket are highly experienced. Dot balls are not going to worry them. But they know that they are the type of players that could hit a 6 or a 4 and just release it. Single.
I don't think Linde and the Sylhet strikers will mind that too much. Singles will never hurt them. The boundaries will. If they can keep away from the boundaries for the next couple of overs and get that required weight up to 12 or more, they'll be okay in a safer position.
10 and a half an over from here into the last 6 overs. Comilla would have taken it at the start. Now against the left arm spinner, he carries a bit of advantage because he has that leg side area open. He's got the ball spinning in. So Linda, you could see, is looking to bowl more straighter than outside the off stump to Moeen Ali.
Which is a good plan. They got the LBW can come into play. If you basically get the ball down, something like that. He's doing a good job so far.
The right-hander on strike. 2 balls to go in the over. That's the one that he looks to throw it up I think I feel there's a bit of grip when you throw the ball up. There's something that the spinners have had.
Hit right at the bottom of the bat. One delivery left and it's over. Could want to finish without giving away a boundary. It would have been an excellent over if he can do that.
Right, let's see. Last ball. Ball. Very well bowled. Very, very well bowled. Brilliant spell. 1 for 14 in 4, Linda. 119 for 3. 15 gone. Right, way to the last 5. They need 57 of 30 balls. And whom are we seeing being called up to bowl? I think it's going to be Luke Wood coming on. My girlfriend says me or cricket. So here I am. Bad luck for the girl. Right, 119 for 3 secondly. It's our last stint in the BPL, and it's a pleasure that I've got that opportunity to sign off with you. And just looking back, what are your thoughts?
Thanks, Ocean. It has been a pleasure. And I really enjoyed the whole BPL 2023. It has been fantastic. The crowds were excellent. We've seen some really, really good cricket. Some big scores, some not so big scores, low scores. Just went past the outside edge. Luke Wood is back into the attack. But generally, for the last 5 weeks, has been excellent. And I really, really enjoyed it thoroughly. Enjoy the commentary team, everyone else that's been involved. Our statisticians and everyone. It has really been a good 5 weeks, Roshan. And I must say, I enjoyed it.
Goes through the offside. Good work. Very good work. That's Mashrafi Murtaza. He's leading from the front. Yeah, I think it was a great honor to have you. I must say, with type of experience you carry as with your cricket and with your legendary role and the knowledge you impart on air and off air.
Well, of course, I believe I know a thing or two about cricket, so making analysis and that kind of thing is not too difficult. I like to inject some humor into the commentary as well. Good delivery from Luke Wood. Surprised Johnson Charles. And of course, everyone knows I know that I'm a straight shooter. And if I have something to say, I'll say it flat out. Without sugarcoating it or that kind of stuff. Nothing personal. No disrespect meant. But I just shoot straight.
I can tell you 100 out of 100 to you for that. You more than shot straight. You spoke very honestly and forthrightly. Oh, flies just overshot third and goes away for 4. He was looking to go over mid-on or towards mid-wicket somewhere.
Very, very lucky that time for Johnson Charles. Lucky to go through the onside. Good delivery. Just peel off the back of the bat and went just over the short third man. That's in the circle for 4. How far was that from the fielder? Oh, very far. No chance. Unlucky for Luke Wood. Yes. Gotta try again.
2 balls to go. Well bowled. Very well bowled. A very good comeback.
Like I've always said, Roshan, a Yorker is always a good go-to delivery as long as you get it spot on. Very good comeback for Luke Wood. Is now approaching 12.5 runs required now. This is turning, look at that. Beautifully bowled. This is turning out to be another brilliant over. If he can finish without a boundary, it will be a perfectly bowled over.
Last ball. This is off the pad, I think. He was looking to pay that little glance down the fine leg. It's the end of the over. 16 gone. I think it's going to be a strategic timeout. 124 for 3. And before you go, a safe travel. And until we see you again.
Thank you very much, Roshan. As well as thanks to everyone involved. I've enjoyed my 5 weeks here in Bangladesh. As well as thanks to the Bangladesh Cricket Board for inviting me here and everyone involved. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Hope I did you guys a good job. 16 overs gone, 124 for 3.
.52 needed from 4 overs. Can you get any tighter? I suppose this is exactly what everyone wanted from a final, and they are getting it. Sylhet Strikers 175 for 7. The Victorians 124 for 3. Johnson Charles, would you believe it, only going at a runner ball. Yeah, if you remember the second qualifier where Sylhet Strikers were down and out. But they pulled back things from the 17th over. But not this time around. Moin Ali, at the start of the 17th over, hit a big one. This is a slower ball that he's got completely wrong, Rubel. He telegraphs it, he gets the length wrong, and Moin Ali just sits back and says, I'll have all I can get. With that length. He must have been salivating. He was onto that opportunity in a flash. Now things are brightened up for the Comilla Victorians with that 6. Nicely bowled, good comeback. Well, they got so much power to come. You know, we think of the 2 at the wicket, what they're capable of doing. There is Andre Russell still to come as well. Yeah, they need a big over. 6 already from the first one. I should make this one into a substantial one to bring that required run rate to below 10. Wants two, you'll only get one. Johnson Charles is not the quickest between the wickets. He's been good in the field, George Linder, making catches. He's been very busy. I would like to see him representing quite a few franchises around the world. He's highly talented cricketer. I don't know how is he ignored with that talent. Here he is now. Johnson Charles announces himself. Yeah, he consumed 39 deliveries. But with the 40th delivery, he decided it's time to go. Got the length right for that kind of a stroke. Cleared the front leg, middled it, got the elevation right. Pressure on the fielding side. 13 from the over. Make that 19 off the over. And 50 for Johnson Charles. He was saving it for the last game. Johnson Charles waited for his opportunity. Got them twice in this over. Cashed in with a couple of sixes. He was ready for that length. He wasn't that short, but he got into a good position very early. And raises the bat, acknowledging the cheer from the crowd. Excellent effort. 41 deliveries. He was at a runner ball after 39. And now the strike rate reads 124. And that required rate, Amir Sahel, that you wanted to get down from 12 to 10 in 2 blows, it is at 10. 33 needed from 19 balls. It's just a delivery remaining of this over, but there's 19 from it. Changes the angle of attack. He comes around the wicket now. Fine leg up, third, square leg, extra cover. Doesn't matter, doesn't matter. He's now showing the full array of strokes that he possesses. Johnson Charles, he finishes the over. 6, 6, 4, 23 from it, 147 for 3. Most sixes, 24, Johnson Charles. The Comilla Victorians, 147 for 3 after 17. And let's go downstairs now and join Pamela, who has the president of the Bangladesh Cricket Board.
I have with me the Honorable President of the Bangladesh Cricket Board, MP, Mr. Nazmul Hasan. ফাইনাল আজকে অসাধারণ এনার্জি স্টেডিয়ামে কেমন ছিল এই বছরের বিপিএল এর জন্য?
এবছর we had a lot of challenges. But despite all the challenges, we are happy যে আমরা এটা successfully complete করতে পেরেছি. And one of the major strengths behind it আমাদেরকে সাহস দিয়েছে was the people of the country. You know how look at the passion of the people of Bangladesh. They love cricket like anything. So overall, it was really, আমি মনে করি it is one of the best so far. And এটার পিছনে সবচেয়ে বড় কারণ হচ্ছে performance of the youngsters, of the local players like Shanto, Tohid Hridoy, Zakir, Tanvir. I mean, this was something totally different than আমাদের আগে যে কোনো টুর্নামেন্টের থেকে.
This time BPL has actually given many young local players who can be the bright future of Bangladesh.
Exactly. The pipeline, we were always worried because আমরা ওদেরকে সুযোগ দিতে পারছিলাম না. Because of course we have some world-class players, and they're still performing, so you can't change them. So what happened is, আমরা চিন্তা করছিলাম the number of games that now we have as per the ICC fixtures, FTP তে এখন তো সময় নেই, continuous খেলা. So pipeline player was very important. এই BPL has shown us that yes, we have good players in the pipeline.
এরকম অনেক ডোমেস্টিক লিগ হচ্ছে কিন্তু বন্ধ হয়ে যাচ্ছে, বাট বিপিএল ইটস a 9th edition, so it is a sustainable format and a sustainable structure. So how are you pursuing, how are you going ahead with it?
No, BPL, actually there are a number of issues. If you look at from the financial point of view, it's not that profitable compared to others. But amra khushi because each country has their own cultural, social values which we have to respect. And এগুলো সব কিছু মেনে আমি মনে করি যে আমরা যা করেছি এবং করছি, that is the best possible.
আর আপনাদের ফিউচার প্ল্যান বিপিএল কে নিয়ে আগে কি ভাবছেন যে এবার এত ভালো করে হয়েছে, কি চেঞ্জেস আনবেন বা কি অ্যাডিশন করবেন ফিউচারে?
বেসিক্যালি আমাদের প্ল্যানটা হচ্ছে যে এখন টু মেক ইট মোর, মানে যেহেতু সারা বাংলাদেশের মানুষ ক্রিকেটকে ভালোবাসে, লাইক ইফ ইউ লুক অ্যাট সে আইপিএল, হোম অ্যান্ড অ্যাওয়ে ম্যাচগুলো হচ্ছে, সো নাও আমরা 3টা জায়গায় খেলছি, ঢাকা, চিটাগং, সিলেট। উই উড লাইক টু ইনক্রিজ মোর, আরও কয়েকটা জায়গায় নতুন যদি অ্যাড করতে পারি, আই থিঙ্ক দ্যাট উইল বি এক্স্যাক্টলি।
আমি জানি আমার এটা আপনাকে জিজ্ঞাসা করা উচিত, তারপরে আপনার কোনো পার্টিকুলার টিম আছে যেটা আপনার খুব পছন্দ?